Board of Selectmen, meeting to order, for Thursday, December 28th, last meeting of the year,
Yes, can I just say that John was just here?
okay?
He just got a fire call, he's gonna go to the fire department and see who responds, and then he'll be back, cause he's looking
Fair enough,
at the order of where he is on the budget,
understood. Okay,
on the agenda, so.
well, we have all three selectmen present for this last meeting of the year. We have Mr. Leo Martell present for this last meeting of the year, recording for the citizens of Dunbarton. And we have the town administrator here, and we have a quiet audience for now. So we're gonna start off with some minutes, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of December 14th, 2023 as amended.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on those? I thought they were done well. Please, Jennifer, tell her she's continuing to do a good job, we'll keep her for next year, if that's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I'll make another motion to approve the 9:03 non-public meeting minutes of December 14th, 2023.
I'll second those. Any discussion on those, gentlemen?
No.
I'll make the last motion to approve the 9/16 non-public minutes, December 14th.
I'll second those also, and any discussion on those?
No, I don't think anything needs to be sealed.
Correct. All in favor?
Aye.
Good job on our meeting minutes, hey, you gotta give me the last one, so.
No, please.
Okay. One more, Dave.
Leo? Bring something up tonight.
Yeah, or Mike,
I already did that before the meeting.
we don't have anybody.
Oh, it's okay,
I think
I'll
they
open
told-
up to the public now. I'll close it, I'll bring it back to the board.
You know what we could do, Mike, is we could do our mailbox review.
That's what I'm gonna start doing now. Okay, I'll start with the mailbox items. All right, there's a invoice that came in, it was not been paid yet.
No,
All right, I'd like to get it paid before year end.
it will be posted to
I
the
just think,
encumbrance account if there's more clarity.
it has to do with the transfer station, so I'm gonna pass it for Dave for action, if you just, we need an audit trail, Dave, a little bit better audit trail,
Yep.
okay?
I will give a quick note on it, it was a part for the roll top cover it, and the company that made them no longer makes them anymore. Woody had found a vendor on eBay last year to provide the, parts that he needed, and he bought them direct from him this year instead of going through eBay, so that's why I think, he has a credit card here for his wife's name. He did call me to ask if he could purchase it before he.
I just think the invoice, is a little audit trail needs to be cleaned up, so we can have a.
Yeah, and I'll ask, put something in writing to it
Very
too,
good.
because I'm gonna go off memory.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have something from quote from Irish Electric for lighting upgrade of the transfer station. It's a request in this 2024 budget. He wants a lighting upgrade. I'm not gonna say the amount,
I was in, the office this week
okay?
and suggested that we do like we did with the other departments last year and put it through the energy committee, cause they saved us a substantial amount of money
Okay,
when we did the upgrade for the, highway department, and did they do the fire department also? I know they did two buildings,
They did the library.
the library.
Mhm.
So, I don't care if we encumber the money for that, but I think that we should send it through the energy committee, cause.
well, he wants it for next year's budget, so I have no problem, and I think we can,
It's up to the board if you
Can't we-
wanna encumber it from this year's budget,
I
because
think
we
we have
have
the
the
money in the
funds.
maintenance budget.
We
should
do,
encumber
I don't know if we need to encumber, cause we will have maintenance money next year as well.
correct.
Yeah.
I'd say just let it, I like your idea of passion to the energy, see if they can get a better deal for us. Sometimes get rebates
I
too.
didn't, I read most of it, I didn't see anything besides replacement lights to do LED lighting. Yeah,
I
that's
thought
all.
he had gotten LED lighting in the past, but I'd have to confirm that with him.
So they
I
have to
think they
change all
must have
the
done
bills.
some, but there's a lot, I mean, it looks like it's all just doing LED disposal of, you must have some
Fluorescence.
fluorescent lamps, fixtures not included. So, they're normally very good with their pricing on it, I just would like to check with the energy committee. I'm not sure, but we got like a little grant or something to do with it.
Yeah,
They got, exactly, okay. All right, next item, we got the agreement for the turnaround, which has been signed by Mr. Mike Guiney for Kelsey Road. This is for the enhanced turnaround. This is, related to the subdivision, but not exactly a part of it. I have no, Lean, you're gonna record this appropriately?
If, Our attorney had mentioned that the documents with the plan should be recorded with the, town clerk. And, in past, planning board used to take a lot of these notice of decisions and these, specialty items and record them at the registry of deeds. Just like if a developer was supposed to deed, a section of land to the town, you wanna have a description of it, which is what this has, but have it, recorded at the registry. It's very minimal
Sitting in the dark.
When are you gonna record it with the plan?
with the plan.
So it won't be done now, it's gonna be done
Yeah,
later, right?
But, I would say that record it with the registry and then also give it to the town clerk. So in the event any of our records get smoked up or something happens, we have
I have no
a
problem
copy
with
with
that.
the
Jackson?
registry deed.
That's fine.
Okay, make it so,
Okay.
with the consensus there, go with it. Okay, we've got a letter of request, and it, there's some legislation that's in the State House that's, kinda like challenging the existence of the NHMA to be helping towns. And they asked for a letter of support, and Dave, I saw some of your email on that, asking for that.
Yeah, I was looking for a copy of the actual bill, the 1479 bill, because I didn't wanna sign a letter of support without reading the bill, but
Right.
it's trying to change it first, so. I haven't personally had a chance to read the bill. Lean did send us a link after we squared away that she knew I wasn't looking for money or an invoice.
I would say we can do that next meeting.
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't read it either.
Next,
He's the one that picked the time, he picked the date.
Said you never know.
So Mike, will you pull that up and read it also?
yeah, defer it next meeting,
What's,
the NHMA support letter,
okay, that's in 2 weeks.
correct.
Bob?
Okay,
Um,
because they were asking,
It's gonna miss a date that they're
it's
looking
gonna miss
for.
the date.
Did they have a date, they said early January.
Early January, and our next meeting is January the 11th, I think.
Mike being chair, if you wanna read it and
Yeah.
just sign a letter of support that she has,
All right,
doesn't need to be all three.
why don't I'll get to you within 7 working days,
Okay,
okay?
so the link did take you to
I
the
didn't pull
House
the
bill?
link up yet, I did
Click
see
on
your
it.
email, but.
Okay,
It came out today, basically, so I'd say I'll take a look at it, it's just a letter of support, they have an example letter of
And
support.
just sign as chair.
Okay, with consensus,
Yes.
okay. We have a solid waste and facility inspection report, and the results were,
They pass.
it looks like it. By the way, did you see that sign there,
I didn't,
the sign at the front,
Oh, that's the new one?
the new one, as you go in the transfer, it looks pretty nice.
how is that being
I see
powered
that.
with lights, is it underground or is it solar?
I didn't know it was.
I didn't even think it is lit up.
Oh,
I don't
yeah, it
think-
is, it looks really good,
Oh, really?
We did pay for that, I guess, so maybe they did figure it in their underground lighting.
Have a lot of yeses, but. The sign, obviously there was a deficiency with the sign, this was dated,
What do you
Oh,
see?
that was what we
That-
corrected, Mike.
Right.
That new sign fixed that.
right,
So the only deficiency they found
Where's the
was the
sign?
sign.
and you fixed it.
and the sign is quite, visible, as you see. Now, but your sign there, sir.
Cool. Need a lid?
Okay,
Like that?
we still got a few more minutes, request from attorney to inspect as a witness. Okay, Lean, can you talk to this one?
The inspector received an email from this attorney asking, to allow our inspector to act as a witness on a trial of Kozatek versus Brunska.
Okay,
And, because he's been involved with a lot of the inspections,
So what it is one of the tenants, the building owner, Breska, now that we've done our reports and stuff, for how he treated them, I guess, and so this attorney is asking Mike to speak on the town's behalf, because he was part of those. They can subpoena him, I saw Brian, I'm sorry, I said Mike, but I saw Brian in the office,
mm-hmm,
and, they can subpoena him, so he's gonna just keep it as generic as possible, show up.
I have no problem with that, I thought he did a good job on that.
It'll be part of his hours, but they can subpoena him anyway, so there's no sense in really fighting.
right, inviting it, yeah.
He can, you're right, he can do it voluntarily or be subpoenaed, as Dave said, so. I have no issue with that.
No problem.
If you wanna sign that, go ahead.
Woody, the last one on this list is your right to know requests, have been ready for a couple of weeks up at the office.
Okay, did you know that?
Yeah, I just been a little busy.
Okay, there's a copy fee, there's a copy charge, Lean can tell you that afterwards, there's no big deal, but it's ready for pickup at your convenience.
Okay.
Just wanna make sure you got the message that it was ready.
Yeah.
So if
yeah,
you've been
Kate told
busy,
me.
I understand, okay.
Okay. That's great.
Woody's on the budget, right?
No, yes, Woody, you wanna come talk? Come on up. Chief, you're all set for tonight? As far as I heard, you got a fire call?
Yeah, we just cleared it.
Okay,
So,
just double check and make sure, oh, we can juggle if we had to.
I could've left, I'm gonna come back.
Okay, Woody, you are up, tell us about this year's budget.
Okay, the first, there's a mistake in the budget. Clerical error on my part, I did 53 weeks, not 52. Yeah,
Yeah,
Lean gave us
So-
the corrected amount, Woody.
yeah, so I changed it on mine.
Okay, this is a clean one, just with that 52.
See the amount over on the side,
Yeah.
the 67, and then the corrected number way down the bottom has the right number.
Yeah, I got $1 difference between it, so whatever.
that's
It rounds the system, we'll
Yeah.
take pennies and rounds.
Okay.
So, the first, full-time with 3%. The second line is part-time with 3%. And I did the 3% on the overtime. Equipment rental stayed the same. Training stayed the same. Subcontractor was up, cause if we don't have someone to back me up, then it's $500 a haul, and I figured 10 hauls. So,
good planning.
the next line is supply line, it's up a little bit. My banding that I use is up to $2,000 for a pallet now. It used to be $900, and then it went up again this past year, and now I got a quote from them, it's $2,000 and something for a banding, a roll up.
How much you use per band, how much you use?
We'll use,
About,
we'll probably use 6-7 rolls in a year,
Okay.
depending. And it's all based on weight. Sometimes the rolls are a little heavier, sometimes they're not, usually there's 12 rolls on a pallet.
okay,
So we get part way through, like this year, we had to buy another round of
Okay.
banding.
fair enough.
My maintenance line is up for a couple of reasons. The Mac is gonna have some work. It's gonna need, one of my pistons on the back of the truck. It moves the tail, has developed a pretty major leak. The mechanic was out when he serviced it and looked at it, that's gonna be pricey. It's gonna be around $2,000 to $2,500 to fix that piston. Doesn't know until they get the rod out, if they're gonna have to put a new rod in it. You know, from being scorned from dirt and stuff. Might be something simple, but I say simple, they can rebuild it with seals and it won't be as bad. Well, he said you're probably looking $2,000, $2,500 to do that. The valve that runs the hydraulic system, there's a 3-bank valve on the outside. To replace the valve is $1,500 in the ballpark. Might be able to rebuild it, not 100% sure they can rebuild it.
While the valves are,
One of the valve sections, that's the one right in the middle. It's one that you use the majority of the time, that's the one that runs the cable up and down. That one's leaking pretty good now. I don't know if the cold is what's making it leak even, I mean, it's leaked a little bit, but now it's leaking pretty good. It's
are
got-
they, you gonna rebuild the valve?
Gonna try, but if you can't rebuild the valve. And I have a couple, afterwards I'll show you a couple things I like to encumber. One of them, the quote didn't come, it's coming from Mac. When he serviced the truck, he said the radiator's getting, excuse me, the radiator's getting tender in it. You're gonna have to change the radiator.
So that's in the line here too?
The labor part is, but not the parts. The parts are, the radiator alone is $2,000 for the radiator.
Which line do you guys still in maintenance?
Still on maintenance. I think what else was in there? Oh, and labor, I have another one for you. labor the pin and bush tobacco. I need pins and bushings in tobacco. I got a quote, I'll give you tonight, for just the parts. And that's around $4,900 just for the parts. And it's not a simple, probably something that they'll have to take to a shop and do. Probably have the gentleman who's been doing our work do it. Equipment, I left it the same. There's some other bills, I know you see some big differences here. There's a bunch of bills still coming in. I have, bills from the trash company, a bunch of bills, probably, just guessing right, there's probably another 10,000 in bills coming in.
As you get them, make sure you get them to Hope in a timely manner as best you can.
What's that?
Get them to Hope in a timely manner as
Oh,
best
yeah,
you can.
yeah, some of them though you can't, it's when the vendor sends it to you,
I understand.
kind of thing. Telephone, it's up a little bit, I asked the phone company about it, their side's going up a little bit. It's up, I think he said $3 a month, and then Granite State, I just used the numbers that they've been charging us, cause no one seems to know what their price is going, if they're even going up. Uniforms, they went up a little bit, we had a price increase this year, and we'll get typically we get it in September, and we'll get another one, in September. And the boots are in that line as well. The phone, I left the phone the same. Fuel cost, my fuel costs are gonna supersede what I budgeted this year. I still have 350 gallons of unpaid fuel. So that's gonna supersede, it's gonna be really close to the number I budgeted for this upcoming year.
350, which is fuel.
Diesel and gasoline,
Is that from the DOT, the state, that we're waiting for on an invoice?
state and the town. I got, 150 gallons of diesel from the town and another, I don't know, 30 gallons of gas, I think.
What do you drive over to get it?
Huh?
You drive over here to get it?
Yeah, I fueled up here. Yep.
And
But I wasn't in an area, so I fueled up here.
And the town will bill you for.
Oh yeah, yeah, we get it, they send me a.
Yep.
And we just take it out of the budget, I get a slip and it comes out of the budget. Ash labbing and testing, I put a 1 in there where we haven't been burning, but you gotta have a placeholder.
Yep.
So I put a placeholder there, fees and services, a placeholder. My MSW, so this year, I put a little note on here so I could tell you. We delivered 795 tons of trash this year most of it went to Wheelerburg in the beginning of the year, if you remember correctly, a couple of loads went to Norton. And that was at $85 a ton. I had budgeted for $875, thinking we was gonna get a fairly large influx with the new houses, but we didn't seem to get that. This year, the price goes up to $90 a ton. So I dropped 40 tons off it, kinda split the difference between the two at like 35. So we have 35 additional tons in there, should we get a spike. But that's one of those lines where you have to pay for it regardless. If you don't even have money in your budget, you still gotta pay for it. That's how it works, cause we're under a contract for one. Our construction and demolition, I left it the same. We delivered 135 ton and, we delivered 135 ton. I always budget for 150 in case that little extra right there. And that's at 130 a ton, so that's at 19.5.
Does that go up this year?
Goes up next year to, 2025, it goes to $150 a ton.
I thought that was an
It's
increase.
gonna be a pretty significant increase. The hazardous waste line, that line is up. I'm sure you folks saw the bill for $7,400 for hazardous waste collection day. They're
We
saying
do that 1 day a year or 2?
1 day, 1 day a year. It's going up again, they couldn't give me an exact amount, but that line.
This includes stuff you got at your,
Oh, yes, yeah, that also, I tried to make it so it included, I'm sitting on 150 tires right now, which tires went up. Plus,
Freon too.
Freon staying, they're trying to keep that part of it the same, but we had a huge amount of Freons this year. And the other thing we have to pay for now is helium tanks. They can't go in scrap metal. Used to be able to put them in scrap metal, pop a hole in them, and you were good with it. Not no more. For whatever reason, they don't want helium tanks now. So helium, propane, 1 pound propane tanks, which we don't charge for those. We don't charge for the heliums. That comes out of this same line. All your freons. One thing I did do is I wanted to get you a number on how many freons we took in this year, and we're up quite a bit. I'm gonna say we're probably up 40 units this year, over the previous year.
A lot of people are going with Mitsubishi's and getting rid of house units and
Yeah.
stuff, so.
So that's kind of a guess number, but I'm figuring what happened on Household Hazardous Waste Day, I don't know if you saw the paperwork that came with it, was Dunbarton had about the same amount of cars, maybe a little more, but the amount of material that was brought in was way more than it has been in the years past.
Okay.
And then the last one is the NRA dues, which they said will stay the same.
I think it's straightforward, thank you, it's good job.
I have, a couple of them, I'd like to see if you guys will be willing to encumber. If not, then you'll have to figure something else. There's money left in the budget, and you'll get money back.
Woody, just so you know, before you came in,
Yep.
we looked at your lighting, pricing to redo the lights with LED. And I'm gonna put it in front of the energy committee, cause I got,
So, I was gonna tell you about that, that wasn't anything in my budget or nothing. I talked to John Stevens, and he's on it.
Okay.
I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
okay, cause I was just gonna
Yeah.
pass that, and we'll do something, but it'll be out of our budget.
Right, I just wanted to give you that so you had something,
And sometimes they get like incentives from, like, the library with incentives.
right, there's
Yeah.
supposedly some incentive from Eversource
Yeah,
on it.
and we got another one when we did the highway department.
In the one I talked to you before about the pavement, Jeff was gonna look into that. Cause I talked to him pretty lengthily about it, and he said he was gonna talk to the pavement company. I called, like you suggested, they won't even call you back. I mean, it's been, Several weeks.
Just so we can have an audit trail, just document who you tried and attempted to, and they never called you back, so when we have to look at bids or proposals, we haven't, like, you did try.
yeah, I called him and
Okay.
he didn't bother
Just
calling me back.
document it, okay?
In
I
the,
have a telephone quote, if you want me to send it to you, you'll have it electronically, that way you can just print it off and document the vendor that you've
Oh, yeah.
spoken to
Okay.
on the same sheet, it's up to 5 vendors on one.
So you need a repavement this year you're
Well,
hoping for?
it was just a couple spot areas that where the pavement is. Pete comes down, religiously patches it, it, it religiously blows out of the holes. There's a couple of significant areas, one's, up top on the outbound side. They actually, when the pavement company came into the town, the town has, he marked it out. It's a pretty significant area, and then the other one's down back, is a pretty significant area there, where the pavement's just gone, there's nothing, that was only ever a base coat, and it never seemed to be the money to top coat it.
You sweet talk Jeff, he got some extra road money.
I'm not getting it, Jeff was kind enough to come down and talk with me, and, he looked it over and he said he was gonna talk to the paving company, cause he thinks that we can reduce the cost, if the town comes in and does a bunch of the prep work. I said, okay, so he was gonna talk to him about it,
Okay, I think that's a very good approach.
so, seemed good to me.
Now, the thing is, do you have a ballpark figure or what it might, we're talking about maybe, about 40?
That would be a question for Jeff, I don't,
Yeah,
last I knew he was gonna talk to him,
I
and
still have the original quote in my
the
got.
original was pretty
yeah, it was.
significant, as you know,
Yeah,
for 3 areas.
yeah. Well, I'd say, that can be maintenance too next year.
And I know you and I have talked about that lower dumpster pad for the MSW.
Yes,
If you have time, I haven't had a chance to meet a demo company to demo that concrete out, and he wanted to meet me over there and check the depth so they could get an accurate number.
okay,
And we can mention to him that you're willing to take that concrete and find a place to get rid of it, so I may just pass the number on to you.
okay,
I'll call you or text you tomorrow
okay,
with it, and you can just figure out a time you guys can meet down there,
okay.
so.
So So I can see where you're probably being, turning some dollars in, not a lot, but you'll be turning some dollars in this year. I think we can cover a lot of the stuff out of our maintenance line next year, not your budget, I'm talking about the town maintenance line.
Right.
And, Dave, I think you agree with that?
On the paving parts and stuff, sure.
Yeah. Just,
What do you wanna do, put the MSW concrete pad in his, or?
I think in the past, we used our budget for like the parking lot repairs that we had, it didn't come out of the highway,
Right.
it was building and maintenance.
I know, I was just thinking Jeff got all that extra money, we could use some.
well,
I don't wanna get in the middle of that one.
no, but the thing is, I think, we gotta move out early in the springtime, late spring, get it going.
Yeah.
And, that's the only thing I would wanna move out on, I don't wanna wait till it's.
Well, and that's one of the things that I talked to Justin about with that, actually, it wasn't Justin, it was, the company that came in to look at the pad, Danis, DK Danis, when he come down, I said, you know, this is one of them jobs when the roads are posted, our roads aren't posted. State highway, you can come right in and do this job, so.
That's true.
Yeah,
Same
maybe,
with the paving company for that.
Right, that's one of them where it's not posted.
Alright, spring work it is. How bad is the slop on that, backhoe loader bucket?
The bucket, I just had some work done on the bucket, it's on the pistons. I had the mechanic look at it and she chucks like this. It's chucking on the main frame, and this piston here, and then at the center pins, it's chucking like this. The problem is if you don't take care of it, the problem you're gonna have is you're gonna end up line boring it, and then that's really expensive.
I don't understand the term, what does that mean?
Maybe they have to bore it out to make it true again, cause it's oblonged
And
itself.
they make
and then add another bushing.
And then they add more bushings.
Okay.
The problem is the parts are, like $4,900 just for the parts, pins and bushings. I mean, there's several pins and bushings, it's just on the hoe, it's not on the loader, it's just on the hoe.
But, sometimes you look at that and you'll do part of it, not do the whole thing too, and do a section of it a year.
I had the mechanic
Kind
look
of
at
fit
it,
it into your budget a little bit, you know?
and he seemed to think that, he's the one that told me, you better, to get a quote for the whole, and he's a taxpayer, so he's pretty reasonable. And we don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon. I was gonna come to the town and see about a skid steer this year, but no, I'd rather put the money towards fixing things, fix this maintenance stuff, maybe buy a little more time. Maybe the backhoe's got it's almost 7,600 hours on it. The skid steer's 4,600 hours, so, you know, the backhoe probably go another 5 years. So this is a small investment for 5 years.
Yeah.
Even when you think of it that way, and the skid steer, he's gonna come in, he's got a little bit of wiring to do on it, it's got a broken wiring harness. You know, we run another year, and maybe there's a few grants I can seek out, I just didn't have time this year. So maybe something in the following year or something,
Okay.
we'll just keep,
And plus, we're gonna put some more money in there if it passes this year anyways, into the maintenance, into his fund.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's got
One
some
step
Mac,
closer.
he said, doesn't wanna shortchange the Mac maintenance either.
Yeah,
I would consider, if we don't encumber the money, I would consider, he's got 15,500, maybe make it like put an extra 1,000 in 16,500, just to give him a little more breathing space with his maintenance line, for equipment maintenance.
Well, no, I think if you add up the stuff, he has breathing room in there, I think, leave it.
Okay, well, we can discuss it when we get going. We're not gonna tie your hands.
okay,
That's the bottom line. We're gonna be sharp on our pencils, but we're not gonna tie your hands either, alright? But I think is encumbering the money, I don't think we're gonna need to encumber, I think you'll have enough, we'll work together to make sure you have enough to
alright,
operate.
cause like I said, the parts alone, you're looking at, between the two, and just the parts from Mac and the parts from John Deere, you're looking just under 7,000, just for those parts. And as of right now, what's remaining in the budget's about 43,000. So probably by the time all the bills come in, you're probably gonna be 33,000. So,
I see where you could.
I was just thinking, trying to think outside the box without trying to
What do you
raise
say?
my
What are
line
you
again.
trying to encumber parts for this work out of
I would like
your
to.
stuff that's left?
I would like to,
Well, you got very little time left for that,
I got them right here.
Oh, well then,
so let's see them.
One,
I didn't realize you were trying to take it out of your last year's budget, I thought it was figured to here.
And then there's one that didn't get encumbered last year for the pickup, and that's to install the new top system on it, put the arms on it, fix the gates, cause the gates on the back are broken, and put the new, supports for the lift gate on.
That came from 2022 encumbrance, is that what you said?
No, it was supposed to, but it got missed, I must have missed bringing it up, I was supposed to have it encumbered, but, and then it's to fix the wiring on the back.
This is, I have no problem with that, I support that one.
And like I said, the quote from Mac didn't come, he was super busy.
This is extra. That's it.
Oh. One papers.
It's all right. I have no issue supporting.
So what you're doing is you're proposing that we encumber the 4,900 for the parts.
Yes.
I think that,
In 23 budget, cause that's not included on
Right.
24's budget.
What I put in basically was labor and parts for the piston,
Okay,
and, you know, rough labor, hopefully take care of all that.
and you still be turning money in too.
For 2023, yes,
I have no problem with that. I think it's a good.
yeah, you'll get money back. Like I said, there's 350 gallons of fuel outstanding,
This is-
worst case, that's about $1,500.
And then
Yes.
the payroll, and then the,
Yep.
This-
your
Probably.
comp time leave that's been approved.
Probably
It's
be
gotta
another,
process,
This is them out there.
couple grand.
Let's see the other one.
yeah, and then there's another,
By four.
I have no issue. with
Another
that.
couple thousand.
It's $5,000.
from the propane tanks and electronics. So probably
He's got a total of
$1,500 there,
about $7,000 need to be covered.
I'll just need those records so I can
Yeah.
put them in the computer.
something like
I
that.
have no issues with that. Because if we pay it now,
Let's
pay it
make a
next year.
motion to it, let's see if he has something.
I'll make a
I'll be
motion.
reviewing all the encumbrances again next week, or the next meeting, because I needed to wait until all the departments got in to put their requests in.
I'll make
So you wanna wait till next week, or you wanna?
I would say wait for the next meeting,
It's-
as long as you give me
I
the
was
account
gonna say,
numbers.
we're all in
to post it.
consensus,
Yeah,
I'd
well,
say.
it's in the file.
Okay,
Yeah.
Woody, just get me the account numbers you want me to post it to.
Okay.
Is it that maintenance line?
Equipment
Yes.
maintenance.
Okay.
4321.
Equipment,
You're all good, thank you.
09630, department equipment. Was that,
Yeah, 09630. Equipment maintenance.
Woody, I have one more thing for you.
Yeah.
We just did some talking before you arrived again on that, box on part kit.
Who? Oh, yeah.
The one you went down to pick up, I gave you
Yep.
permission to go down and
Yep.
get it. The, thing they're looking for is a little bit more backup on that, and it looks like, I told them what I knew of it was we used a vendor you found on eBay from last year, and you got the parts this year from him direct, correct?
I got a private sale,
Private
because the other guy turned out to be a scam.
all on eBay?
yeah,
You can take it out of this year, I didn't know, that it had to be vendor for vendor.
Okay.
Oh,
I
no, it
didn't know
doesn't
that.
matter, vendor,
Just-
just part to part, it's,
We just, a little, more of an explanation, a verbal
I can give
explanation.
I can give you the paperwork on it.
That's right,
That's
perfect.
exactly.
I got the manual on it, that paperwork.
Do you have an invoice from them?
Oh, the guy was 45 minutes late in showing up, I was lucky he didn't show
Well,
up.
even if you, just write up what
Yep.
the
I can write that.
narrative, so we can have an audit trail.
Okay.
did you put it on the credit card?
Nope, I paid cash for it.
Okay.
That's, we need to clean that up, so we can, so the auditors won't get on.
I can do
it.
that,
Why do we have Tammy's name on this thing then?
because I can't authorize payment to myself.
Put that in there,
Right.
in
No,
the
I know.
narrative, and that would be perfect.
Yeah, 'cause I can't
I
authorize payment to
understood,
myself.
it makes more sense now.
Then it should be from Tammy to you,
Okay,
and then you are approving the reimbursement to
Okay.
Tammy. Is the way-
It seems kinda,
yeah, if you, can I take that
Yes.
paperwork or?
Yeah, and then on Tuesday we'll be all set.
we'll get it paid next week.
Okay, I'll pop it in the
Please.
box on the
You know, I approved before I went down, I don't understand the Tammy part.
Huh?
I don't understand.
I had to pay, I paid for it cash,
Yeah.
but I can't reimburse myself.
No, but the town can reimburse you direct, right?
If I have the paperwork, yes.
But I have to approve it.
Well, in
Yeah, but
that case.
I can
So
sign.
you approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I just went off the way it's
It'll be
been.
cleaner for me to approve it
Okay.
than for
Yeah.
Tammy to.
because
Okay.
That makes
Joe and
sense.
Tammy and kind of
Yeah, yeah.
threw a
That's why I
wrench
had
into
it.
it, and now that you say it, we understand.
I
why
That's
it's
why I
like-
had her do it, cause I couldn't approve myself. so
I was thinking we did her credit card,
No.
so that's why
Yeah,
I,
so that,
No, okay,
so I'll sign off on it once you.
okay.
Just a couple paragraphs and we're good to go.
and then you said you have a manual, so we need
Yep.
something,
Yep,
some
I'll
kind
give
of
you that.
support
It's on my desk.
on, for documentation of the part.
Right, so
That,
you need, okay,
these are just the memos
Okay.
that I,
okay,
that's
yep,
right.
we do
Thank you,
that.
Woody,
Yeah, no problem.
make it work.
Okay. And then
Okay.
encumbrance too?
Chief,
Yes.
okay, you got 11 minutes.
Okay.
Woody, one quick question, this app for an application for employment down in your department?
I got another one.
Yeah, can you put this with the other one, so
Yeah.
you and I can talk about it and
Yes.
get those going? Keep that right with it, okay, thank you,
Okay.
sorry about that.
No worries.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to clean up my area here.
John, you have the floor.
Say what?
You have the floor for 9 minutes.
Okay. A little quick. First line, the 3%.
Okay.
Up 37, if I did my math right.
Okay,
Next line's 3%, no
Okay.
change on forest fire, that's just a number we carry every year.
yeah,
Training staying the same, that pays for EMS training and any classes I send people to. Mutual aid was up this year,
okay,
$1,201, which really isn't a bad deal, cause they ended up hiring another employee, bought another vehicle, covering our hazmat now,
okay,
that we made before. Gas, I was short a little bit, so I put an extra $100 in there.
okay,
Diesel seems to work out every year for us.
okay,
Office supplies, same, fire station, same. Telephone, we're a little short there, so I upped that,
okay,
$100. Mobile phones was saying the same.
Okay.
Equipment maintenance, we put in some extra money last year to rebuild that pump, it never got done. They couldn't get it lined up with a guy to do it, and so I'd like to keep that in there.
no problem.
500 for my dues I belong to, radio repairs. I got an outstanding bill coming that he's working on our radios tomorrow, so that'll be
Okay,
full of that by 500. Page, I haven't bought any pages in 2 years, so I bought them this year,
alright,
and they're more money than I thought they were gonna be. So I gotta get some more next year, so I'm be about $500 more. Fees and services, we reduced that last year, and it seems pretty close. Protective equipment, same, description same, fire prevention same. Fire hydrant repairs, we put 5,000 in last year, cause we thought we were gonna have to replace the hydrant at Clifford Farms. Dig it up, put a new hydrant in, come to find out, we were able to repair the one that was in there, so we didn't have to dig that up.
super,
So,
that's good.
I dropped that price, $3,000, still gonna maintain the hydrants, I've talked to a fence person about looking at the repairs, the chain link fence on 2 of our ponds, trees have come down on them, snow plowing operations have pushed them over. We're kinda liable to keep those fences up.
Okay,
It's the one on Jewett Road, it's the one on Jacqueline Drive, and the one on, Grapevine. The one on Grapevine, just a few trees that come down on it. I
what
cleaned
line
up.
would that, line do the fences come out of?
It would be in that fire hydrant repair line, but
Okay.
I haven't got a price yet on doing those, so if we don't do it next year, we won't do it.
Do you think it's kinda low? I think fences on, he's my fence expert.
I know it, yeah, you know, I have no idea what it would cost to fix them.
Cause you're gonna reuse every bit that's out there.
As much as possible. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm sure it's costly, but
That's the one that's been down for a while, hasn't it?
the one at Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Oh, this one on Jewett Road, along the road,
Yeah.
that's down, but trouble, it's pretty rough terrain. Yeah, that's on the road.
I've seen that, I've driven by that and gone
Yeah,
down for
the
years.
Jacqueline's had some along the pull-off, cause that's when they plowed snow, it got pushed over, and then a big tree came down a few years ago on the backside. They took the fence down.
Sounds like it could be a lot of fence repairs though.
Yeah, it's gonna cost them, so I don't know if we'll just
I think,
put it off next year and get some pricing, or whatever you wanna do, take it out of another account.
Well, I would do
my
one of
account.
them and at least
yeah,
keep that line the same
Yeah.
each year, and do one, and then maybe we've got it.
you were budget $5,000
Yeah.
last year, you wanna keep it at
Sure.
5,000?
Keep it.
And not just that, John, if you look at you may not spend all of your budget entirely, you could use
Oh,
money from other
No, I
areas
got
to pay for it
Like
too.
40 left over. Paramedic intercepts, a little short on that, so I upped that. 15, you know, you never know how many times you're gonna call for an intercept, paramedic, it's kind of a.
So you're
Yes.
returning some money to us there, yes?
Oh, yeah, so total budget, without changing, was up $1,000, $1,049.
If we had a couple more thousand for the fire,
Right, so put the dry hydrant back in there,
yeah, bring up to 5,000 again.
4,000.
then I bring it.
Which line are you guys doing that?
The dry hydrant repairs. He had 5,000, we're gonna keep it at 5,000, so bring it up 3,000.
So you're going up $4,049.
You comfortable with that, John?
Yeah.
I don't wanna hamstring you as far as repairs.
No,
Like we're supposed to be in conflict with
Yeah, but it's, fire is important, fire and police, safety, roads, all safety issues.
If he's
Yeah.
able to get his quotes to repair the fences this year, do we want to allow him
it.
to
This year?
encumber?
no,
He's got money going
yeah, I
back.
got money left, so.
Before midnight.
Well,
Wait.
it's the 31st is the deadline, but you meet on, today's your last meeting this year, so next meeting, you'll be reviewing what I've encumbered.
But it's a chess game, because either we can plus up his budget line now. but
If
he's
we
turning
plus
it-
up his budget, he can do it anytime next year.
Yeah.
spring or whatever.
Plus, those fences have been like that for years, I don't think
Yeah.
there's any dire need to get every
Yeah.
single one of them done next
I
year.
just-
No, she's
Good-
just,
good
she,
thinking out of the
she
box,
was
it's
looking
good.
at encumbering, instead of changing his budget,
You know.
if we encumbered it this year.
Yeah, I heard one of the board members mention that we could encumber it, but he doesn't have the quotes.
Right. And so I think we're good there.
Got a light tower, we'll go out there tonight.
Yeah, we got those, we got good flashlights, we
Yeah.
got it all.
Okay,
Alright, so we'll go with the plan of increasing that hydrant back to the original 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're gonna talk about warrant articles tonight, or wait
Yes.
some other time?
you can
I
briefly,
don't have any.
I was gonna say, I don't have any.
1.5 million.
yeah, but it's here.
100,000.
Lee, do you have a copy of this?
do you wanna talk warrants at all, you wanna?
I didn't bring, they usually just present what they're
Yeah,
going
I
to.
didn't give her anything. Oh,
Okay,
the ambulance purchase, we need to purchase our ambulance this year,
okay,
for sure. So we're gonna have to take every single penny we have out of our existing account.
That's okay, so you don't need
Okay,
any
for
more.
that. Not yet, I got 2 quotes, and 2 were due, haven't come in yet.
And that will be all the radios and everything for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We won't need any
Won't
extra
be
out of your line.
anything. The first one, quote I got, we have enough in the bank right now. The second quote I got is kind of more of a Cadillac than a Ford, and he's over budget for what I could,
there you go,
have.
yeah.
and he's giving us 11,000 trade-in for the one we got, which, you know, it's worth more than I think it's worth, not worth that much, but, you know, it's all the
Depends
numbers,
if
it's
you're
all the
dying,
numbers
it's
they
worth
play.
a lot.
It's a number game they play, but, so we definitely gotta write a warrant article and take everything we got out of
Okay.
the bank. You know, that figure goes up monthly when we do runs, you know, that adds to it, and I'm not sure when they want the money. If we order it in March, it's a 2-year wait now, because of chassis issues.
So you might do a deposit and then have more time to
I'd
put
like
more
to,
money in it.
yeah, if that's how it's gonna work, or if they want some money up front, I'm not sure.
It's kinda weird, but I think they're gonna want it up front.
Yeah,
Well, I think a deposit would be non-refundable
Maybe
deposit.
25% or something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah, the trouble is the chassis prices change monthly now. They get a quote, we bid a Ford 4-wheel drive chassis, we wanna go to a 4-wheel drive vehicle, so we encounter driveways we can't get out, and snow and all that stuff, so. They all bid the same chassis, Ford, and, we can get another chassis when it comes down to fine tuning this, but Ford changes their rates monthly for these companies.
So I think all them chassis companies change them.
But
Because
the
it's steel
guy that
plates.
gave me the higher quote, he incorporated into his bid, it would never change from the price he gave you, it'll never change in 2 years.
Was there a
Price of
big
chassis.
spread between the two bids though?
I think 30,000 maybe,
Yeah.
30,000.
So he's basically covering himself for the 2 years.
Yeah, and he is probably a little better unit, he he had added some compartments and stuff like that. The other guy's kind of a plain body, it's the same manufacturer we have right now, and we've had that for 14 years. I've never had an issue with it. It's just a basic ambulance body, and you can add compartments, and that's what drives the cost up when they start, doing stuff, so. We should have enough money.
That's the only one we'll be presenting.
No, then we gotta decide what we're gonna do about the engine. We're gonna put more money into it, obviously putting more money in the capital reserve, but.
But what had
Are
you
we
found
gonna
on the
try-
engine? You found something?
I got two quotes so far. The
Yeah.
one I told you is $499, the guy's sticking to that, that's probably the best deal we'll ever get. E1 just quoted me $599 with a custom cab truck, like we got now. We're talking a conventional truck, the lower price, which I think the Dunbarton would serve us well. Same number of people can ride it, it's just, you don't have the room in the conventional than you do the custom cab. And he's $599, and I asked, well, about lease purchase, he quoted me $47,337 to borrow $200,000 for 5 years. If we bought the $599 truck, that's his.
So you'd have to put $200,000 down?
400.
400?
Down, borrow 200 to make it 600. So that's his, and I got another guy that's out there, he's telling me somewhere between 5 and 6. He can't give me a definite quote.
And you had one at $499?
And we had the one at
And you
$499.
think that'll do your,
Yep, and it's exactly the same, everything's exactly what we want.
and how much do we have in that fund?
I just gave you the report last couple weeks ago.
Just a rough guess, John.
Is it 300?
Others,
No, it's more than that.
390.
Yeah,
Almost
360 or
four.
360, I thought.
It's almost 4.
360 or 380.
Yeah, it's around 4. So, what are we gonna do? We're gonna make up the 100 that we need this year, or we just put more money in capital reserve and do it next year?
Split it between the 2 years, can you get another year out of the existing one?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
nice to
price,
get a new truck, boy, cause the
is
same,
that price
same
gonna
issue
go
gonna
from
be with that. It's gonna be-
$499 to $599 next year?
What's the lead time on the truck?
Well, these two that they've quoted me are what's called production trucks. They've actually built them on their own, they're not waiting for any kind of specification.
Okay.
They just build a factory truck. One's coming off the line March of '24, and the other one's coming off January '25.
And I don't think you're gonna get the $499 price if we wait another whole year, so my thought is to try and dig into that one this year.
Yeah, and that's Rosenbauer, which is probably one of the best manufacturers out there right now. Rosenbauer, E1, PS, and stuff, and they're probably the top dogs. And, the reason, we could get another quote from E1, if we change the chassis. They just given these quotes on these factory trucks they're getting built, and they're using this custom cab that a company's come up with to compete with the conventional trucks.
But you're gonna do a standard cab one, right? The
Oh, it's a
499.
4-door. So, 5 people can ride in it, same as ours, it's just a commercial truck instead of a custom truck. We're gonna lose room inside to store equipment and all that kind of stuff, but, for $100,000,
So the $499 one, how long is he willing to hold that pricing for us?
for a while.
Mostly, likely just to this voting season though,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I told them.
Not even
But
a
they
whole
got a
year.
few of those coming off the line in January,
Right.
it's just not one truck. They got a whole slew of them coming off the line.
So my thought is, if
January.
we've got almost 4 in there, is we should try and,
We could do like, he hasn't quoted me a lease purchase on the 100,000.
but we can use unassigned fund balance or whatever to make up some differences on it, the only, 'cause I don't think you're gonna be up another $100,000 if we wait.
I don't think the voters are gonna turn it down. This is, again, we're talking about life and safety here.
Yeah, it's replacing a truck that's 33 years old.
And to me, it's.
But I'm worried about losing the $499, which for the other
Me
two
too,
quotes are
because
$100,000 more, so.
Next year, it won't be,
Well, you
Right.
guys are
I mean,
authorized to
25.
spend from that fund that he's talking about.
Leo, we got,
Capital reserve.
Yeah, I've got a question, John.
Yes.
Is that money you guys are talking about, is that also including the money you would be putting in capital reserve this year?
Well, that's what we gotta figure out.
Yeah,
Because if
To
you
get
were
to that
putting that
point.
much, we've been putting 60?
yeah.
Yes,
40 to
40 to
60
60,
range,
depending
something.
on
I think we
the-
put
Yeah, so
60
we're not
last
that
year.
far off.
So, right, so now you're getting pretty darn close.
Right.
I don't
That's my
wanna lose
point.
that pricing, cause
Yeah, right, I
That's
agree
what we're
with you.
saying, so we could look into seeing what the lease would be, borrow
Mhm.
100,000 for 2 years, and make that payment for 2 years and make up the difference, or this year borrow 100,000, or town puts in the whole 100,000
so
through
John,
taxes, so.
because yours is gonna use some funding other than the funding in the capital reserve, if you could work on the 499 truck and get the written proposal for that truck, including everything you need to radios up
Yep.
and everything, make sure you get that all together for us, then we can make some budget decisions, cause we have to make our budget decisions coming up, and if that's gonna be other than capital reserve money,
Right,
we need to look at your warrant article one first.
exactly. That's why I brought it up to you, but like you said, that 49 price, cause they're going right now 800,000-900,000.
Yeah.
I talked to the way chief last week, he's bid a truck at 9, I said, well, I was looking at one at 499, he goes, how'd you do that? He said, well, it's not a, custom truck, but even this E1's
Don't
realizing.
tell anybody else about it.
E1's realizing that, towns can't, that's why they're coming out with these 599 trucks, which is still $200,000 to $300,000 less than, if we ordered a special.
I would rather have that new truck than go down to Rhode Island, buy a
Yeah.
used truck for the same amount.
There's
of money.
actually 2 popped up today, guys I have looking for me. One's an 05, which would be exactly the same truck we have. Our other one's a 2005, so we end up with 2 trucks the exact same age. This truck has 19,000 miles on it. Got a few dings here and there, they sent me 15 pictures of it. The horsepower engine's a little less than what we like, but that's 130, delivered to Dunbarton, with a 1-year warranty. Another one popped up today, 130-40 range, but it's only got a 500 gallon tank, which we don't want a 500 gallon tank. That's the problem, some of these trucks pop up, and, we need a minimum 1,000 gallon tank, and a lot of these trucks don't have a 1,000 gallon tank. There are communities that have good water systems, and they only need 500 gallons. City truck, we call them city trucks, and they got 500 gallons of water.
Yeah.
They got a good hydrant system, so, like I said, they pop up. And the other issue, cause she knows the door issue, this one popped up today, it was 9.5 height, so it would fit. The other one, the 500 gallon pump tank truck was 11 or something, so.
Is the new one gonna fit, if we got the brand new one?
Yep, I got the specs,
And the
but
existing
hopefully
doors
by
are
then, the
new.
door would be changed. The doors will be done before this thing comes.
Okay, so
So we'll work some numbers.
for clarification, we have a capital reserve balance, I'm gonna be drafting up a capital reserve deposit in the $100,000 range. You have the authority to spend, so there's no other warrant there, but the purchase
The
with,
the difference of the raised by taxes.
No,
no, because the $100,000 deposit, whether you choose.
no, there's nothing about $100,000
No.
deposit.
That's how much we
So
get.
he's gonna do a warrant article
Right.
for $499 for the new fire truck. $390,000 is gonna be funded out of his capital improvement fund for that fire truck.
Okay,
And the other portion will either be by taxation or unassigned surplus balance that we're gonna discuss at later meetings.
okay, because you guys just got the authority to spend that money, you don't need to go.
That was for a used truck,
Right,
Not for
last town meeting.
yeah.
No, I think it's just, they have the authority to expend.
We do, but if we don't have enough
Also-
to expend the whole amount.
Right, and we don't have enough money to buy the new
Buy
one.
the truck with the.
We need permission for the difference.
And we have time to
Okay.
go through the warrant article with that truck, cause the guy's gonna hold that
Okay.
number for him.
Okay, I just wanna get my warrant article correct,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because,
so we'll do the whole thing.
We're
in
not sure what
499.
100 come, it
So
could
the-
be a lease purchase, it could be,
okay, and that's the other thing, is do we have to have a separate warrant article to lease purchase, or?
No, we're gonna do a straight purchase, right?
well, we could throw that number out there, so if you don't have the 100, you can't.
No, I think we're gonna.
Taxation.
No problem.
100, yeah.
Cause
Don't
it's
worry
easy
about
to,
that part of it.
easy to bite off
Yeah, worry about
50 a year. That sounds good to me.
Alright, stick with the one article,
Yeah, $499,
$499, and
use the
then,
$399 out of the
Withdraw.
capital reserve,
yep,
and then the balance will either come from unassigned
or combination.
or excess.
And remember, we were gonna add about between 40 and 60 in the capital
Anyways,
reserve
right,
anyways.
exactly.
So it's
So
not
if we
gonna,
add another 60,
we're talking about 60,000 above what we.
put in
Currently
anyway.
have,
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's almost reasonable,
okay.
almost.
Okay,
So there's gonna be two articles then, a deposit into the capital reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
And
we
then a withdrawal.
standardly do, yeah.
Okay, got it, and that number will be determined with the board,
And do our standard 60 on the deposit,
60, okay.
so that'll give you the balance.
and it'll be
So
less,
he's gonna have three, one for
We get
ambulance,
almost-
one
we
for
get
fire
40.
truck, and one for capital reserve deposit.
Yeah.
you say so.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta move this,
Going out with a bang.
Drive me right up, right?
okay, I gotta move this on,
Legacy.
please, if I can have the attention, I have a public notice to, we have to discuss the adoption of electronic ballot counting device. That's gonna be at 7:45, we have, is Mr. John Troy here?
No.
Okay. Well, the thing is, one thing we've been entertaining in this town, we've been looking at, the possibility of entertaining a, electronic ballot where we could, record ballots to a machine rather than hand counting, and be finished in 1 hour rather than 4 hours after the election ends. And, we were considering that, and, we wanted to have some opinions from the public, how the public feels about it. I can tell you right up, the cost is gonna be approximately $9,000 for the device. It will last about 5 years. Every election costs about $550. $500 for software, probably $50 for paper. We have 2 vendors which are, been approved in the state, or pending approval in the state. The relatively new machinery, new technology. Some people have some reservations, and in this town, we've had hand counting all for all the years. We've been super accurate with our hand counting, as been demonstrated by previous elections where we've contrasted us with Bo when we've had recounts. We've been spot on, Bo has been off, and we've had overturned elections because the machines have been inaccurate. And so, I'd like to read something, that one of our, state representative, Mr. J.R. Hole has basically written to me this morning. He's at another meeting with the state, working with the state tonight. But he asked me if I could get his opinion on this. And gentlemen, if you do mind, if I read this?
Go ahead.
Okay, says, hello, Michael, I'm writing in reference to the discussion on the ballot counting devices meeting tonight. You can't make it because of other reasons, okay. This summer, the Secretary of State looked into selecting new ballot counting machines. I was at the presentation, reviewed all 3 machines. While there are a lot of advantages, especially for our local town staff on election day, moderating town clerk and other officials, I have some concerns. These are listed below. 1, the machines have not been tested in New Hampshire, that is a fact, this is new technology. We are in an unusual state, as we have both multi-member districts and multi-district races, i.e. state reps, school boards, selectmen, etc. Other states do not have both these unusual features. We also have an unusual large number of candidates for some races. Primary is an example, we have loads of candidates for the presidential primary. In the state rep races for 2024, there will be 8 candidates, 4 slots in the local, and 4 slots in the broader floterial race that includes Epsom and Allenstown. I think it would be wise to wait an election or 2 to see how these machines perform in our state. Just like it is unwise to purchase a new car in the first model year, greater chance of repair issues. It would be unwise to test these to be the test town for these new devices. Now, this is the third point he brings up. Our prior counts have been way above average for accuracy. Inaccuracy is something we should not seek to reduce. In Wyndham, in 2020, the machine ballot counting devices miscounted over several hundred ballots, resulting in the results changing over 100 votes for some of the candidates. This failure of the machines caused machines to count voted ballots incorrectly, ended up costing over $120,000 in audit costs. He has references for that. Lastly, this is JR now. In 2016, he lost the election by 5 votes, but in a recount, they changed it from third place. There was 21 votes, he ended up winning by 6 votes because of the problems with Bo we're having, not Dunbarton, because we hand counted that election. There were multiple issues with the council and Bo that night, and this was in part to the machines that Bo used. I know that our town officials put an enormous amount of time on election day, 20+ hours in some cases. They deserve our support. For all the elections that I've not been on the ballot, I have volunteered to help count. I hope more of our town members do the same. This hand counting is part of our town character. It is also what gives us the highly accurate results. With this in mind, I ask at a minimum, this decision be delayed until our town meeting and we allow public feedback on a night where there's a greater participation. We don't have an overwhelming participation tonight, for example. I would ask you to vote no on any efforts to move forward on this tonight. This is best regards, Representative J.R. Hull, serving Dunbarton, Hooksett, Allenstown, and Epsom. So that's J.R., that's our own state rep, he has some concerns about that.
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
He says these are new to New Hampshire, they haven't been used in New Hampshire before, but now you just cited Bow and Wyndham used them.
No, these are previous machines,
Okay.
these are previous machines.
So previous machines weren't, but the Secretary of State has approved
Right, and the thing is,
the 2 machines which we're selecting from.
one is an interim, it's just about ready to be approved, and so, but it hasn't been litmus tested in our state per se. And so the thing is, I'm no machine expert, my colleagues up here aren't machine experts, we have to rely upon the Secretary of State to validate them for us. We can form opinions of which one we like, but an opinion is like, I like the red car over there, and he likes the blue one over here. There's not much differences between the machines.
Well, just to go back a few steps.
Yep,
We did have the, town clerk revise that, look into it, and she gave us the one that the Secretary of State most liked. And so we went with that machine where we looked at the numbers. The other thing is we put it in front of the town moderator. Both the town clerk and the moderator think this is the direction we should probably head into in the future. I mean, some of us are there 6:30 in the morning, and we don't get out there till 1:30, 2 at night, the time all the counting's done, and we get everything back to the town offices here, and it still needs to be run up to the state of New Hampshire, up to the, state police barracks, so it's a long, long day, 20+ hours for a good bunch of people. So, so we've decided to, head kind of in this direction, but we have to have these public meetings, but we had a consensus to head this direction, but we can certainly, I think, hold off until our next town meeting to get a consensus from the townspeople, because even if we ordered that, I think it'd be highly unlikely we get it before the big, election 2024.
could be up 9 to 12 months out for lead time, I've been hearing.
Yeah, so I don't mind waiting to run it in front of,
I don't think we should take it off the table. However, I don't necessarily like to maybe rush into it. There are some towns that have already purchased it. It'd be interesting to see how they do during the primaries and see how they do it, see how many problems they have. And if there's no problems, I'd say more power to us than waiting.
Yeah, anybody that has the machine now, this will be the year to find the big problems with all the big elections coming up.
Correct. I mean, I think, one thing about Dunbarton, we have been noted for accuracy in hand counting, but the problem is, town grows a little bit, and every time it grows, it's another hour in the evening.
and I think if they did have an issue, it'd probably be software, not really the machine.
Yeah, one of the companies said they'd be here within an hour, guaranteed.
Yep. So,
So,
I'd say, what we're attempting to do is probably budget some dollars for this. As I said, the cost is about, the initial setup cost is about $9,000, an average about $550 per election. And, let's say we budgeted just to get a machine in here, we could consider that.
Yeah, but
And I wanna open up to the public, I wanna hear, you've heard, we talk about it, now I need some input from you all in the audience.
Jeff Crosby, 17 Stock Highway South. Maintenance on these type of machines, do they have to be recalibrated, reset, and reviewed
it's
yearly,
in the
or
fee there, $500.
every election, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's reprogrammed.
Has to be reset,
Yeah.
Yes,
and what type of atmosphere do they have to be stored in?
it's like a computer, it can't be stored in a Conex in the transfer station.
Yeah,
It would,
that's
it
why
would
I'm
have to be
asking.
in a building.
Do we have enough room and?
Yes, we're
Facilities
talking
to do
about
that?
one machine for the town,
Okay.
basically folds up into a little suitcase, you can put it in a little closet.
No, that's what I was just.
No,
wondering.
good question, you know,
Yeah, any idea how much time it's really gonna save?
hours.
You wouldn't have to count any ballots.
We'd have to, the write-ins would be a challenge, but after,
What's the challenge?
in other words, let's say we had 100 write-ins,
Yeah,
those have to be processed one at a time.
so whoever would enter it in the machine would have to notice it's a write-in before he sticks it in the machine?
No, it spits it out.
It spits it out.
Oh, it spits it out.
And the moderator's notified, then the moderator goes up there, looks at it, sees it's a write-in,
Yeah,
and then,
I'm just
once the
curious.
moderator, like, say Jeff Crosby was a
Yeah.
write-in, once they enter your number, then they pass through, so it's any new write-ins have to be entered after that point.
That's the only, that is a challenge.
Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive. I used to live in Wyndham, okay, I was supervisor of the whole line that they put out, and I saw the nightmares. It was absolutely a nightmare. I think it's something that we need to look into, but I think we need to look into it cautiously. The test that Nikki, the town clerk, used to put the machine through before the election, it was strictly a math test. It was like basic stuff. How much is 27 and 27, things like this.
It looks like from what JR said, the issues they did in Wyndham is if the ballot was folded, they sent it through.
Correct, yeah.
That's where they got most of their incorrect readings, a folded ballot.
It's overall a good thing, but it's kind of like an iceberg. You only see part of it. You're gonna see the good part, you're gonna see the short stuff. You have any hiccups, they end up in the bottom drawer. You now have people that have to come along, and we had a whole team of people, including some notable people in town and everything, at the election, after everything, the polls had closed, and you have to go through those individual ballots and say, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, whatever, everything has to be all tallied and it all has to add up. The problem came was when the machines malfunctioned, like they found in Wyndham, the dots that they filled in was on the fold, and it got the whole thing all screwed up. So I think, I worked in IT for a whole bunch of years, okay? Microsoft started this whole baloney about, let's just throw it out there and let the public beta test it. I think, you're right, Mike, we ought to just wait a little bit, stay on the sidelines, stay attentive, but like you said, the startup cost, the fact that you have to use their kind of paper, we've gotta get now a printed ballot to match the machine, things like that. There's some issues down the road, maybe a year or two, but not in time for next year anyway. even
I
if
don't
we
wanna
could.
rush into an election where
Yeah,
we're,
Lee Martell, Tenny Hill. I'm not advocating the purchase of one at this point, but I hope people remember while they're cozy in their beds, there's a lot of people out there working, and they're the same people every year that are doing this. So, when they're making their decision on this, they should realize they're not even becoming involved in it, in this project. So, again, I'm not advocating the purchase of it, I'm just saying you have to remember all the stuff. It's easy to just sit back, put your head on a pillow and say, I'm glad we didn't buy these things. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's important that we at least look at the technology. Dunbarton
Right.
has grown in size over the years. The election nights have turned longer. But I agree with our representative that we can embrace it, but let's not go rush into it.
Right.
And I think it'd be a great year to see how the other towns who embrace this dog, see how they do. And we can appropriate it for the following years.
Right. I'm just saying to keep an open mind as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, go ahead.
the other towns gotta report back to the Secretary of State, so
Oh,
we can kinda get.
all
yeah.
the reports, we'll get all the hiccups.
We will, okay,
Yeah.
good. Cause I'm one of those people that counts the ballots, I'm there every election, and I'm with you, you know what I'm saying, as far as, we put in the time, and if we can get home by 11 o'clock, that'd be a nice
Didn't
thing.
it say that there was a long, fulfillment of the orders also, that it may not, in production,
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't have it
we
probably.
wouldn't have it for 2024, so.
I mean, there's a chance we could possibly,
She said
if we
potentially
put
in
it in right
September
away.
we would have it.
Yeah. Any other comments? John, go ahead.
So this is a different model than what other towns have been using? I mean, towns have been counting ballots for years with
Yeah,
machines.
that's what I'm
These are
thinking.
two new
So why
machines.
is this one, is this a different system?
Just a different, one's a different company, and one's an existing company, which is just revamped their machine. So the
So
two
there's only
upgrade.
a couple of this brand in the state?
I'm
I'm
not-
saying, there's only a couple of this brand in the state?
Correct.
Wyndham and Salem or whatever?
I don't think.
No,
it's a-
no, I stand corrected. There are about, several towns have already ordered some of these machines from these two companies.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be in place this year. It's kinda late in the game to get it for the primary, for example.
I think what the state is, they did a request, like we do a request for pricing, they did a request for a proposal. And they got these companies that said they can meet these criteria the state of New Hampshire set up, and then they tested each of those, and I know that of the three, I think they have two that they've signed off on.
And one's just about virtually, one definitely signed off, and one just about imminent signed off on. Go ahead.
Brent Hale, Blackbrook Road. Curious like on who the vendors are and who ultimately dictates who we choose.
We had that information at the previous meeting, I don't think we have it here
Yeah,
tonight
do
though.
you want me to go?
You want the names of them?
More curious about like ultimately like who's choosing which vendor we go with,
Basically, it's,
if it happens.
We asked our town clerk to look into and look into it with the state and the people that she knows up there. And then, you know, based on her decisions and discussions with them, they went with the company that we felt that was gonna be
and
better.
pricing between the two, they're very competitive. I mean, it's almost a wash between the two. Yeah, there's a few subtle differences that we've found, like response time to, problems. Maybe instead of charging $500, maybe it's like $590. The difference is minimal between the two.
Yeah.
Basically, same ballpark. They're competitive.
Sure.
And so, it's hard to make a decision of which way we wanna go. I personally have seen one, I haven't seen the other one, so it'd be kind of foolish to me to make a decision of which one I wanna go on. I've only seen one, and I was impressed with one, but I don't know what the other one looks like.
But if we go through this election and we find out that one is like severely off versus the other, like.
Based upon other towns?
Yeah, like how do we?
That would influence, I'm sure that would influence us.
Yeah.
And then we're looking for younger people, could you come up and sign up?
Sure.
Any other questions, comments? Good job.
There's already some electronic counting ballot machines in place.
And it has been for years.
Yeah, okay, so why wouldn't you wanna go with a proven product versus a new, I mean, is
It's
there a
the-
price difference or?
No, this is a
just the
proven product
newest and
of the
greatest
state.
thing?
These are approved by the Secretary of State.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at, there are already some that have been manufactured that are in place, like a Chevy. And why wouldn't we say, oh,
I think that
Chevy's
these
a good
companies,
vehicle, why are we buying a?
These are the only ones that are
Jumping
currently approved for purchase now by the state. What they did in the past, I'm not sure, but
Okay, no,
These
that's what
were-
I'm getting at.
right,
There's a brand out there that's already been proven.
these could have been one of them brands,
Okay.
we just don't know.
Well,
Okay,
I'll give you
that-
one,
that answers the
I'll give you one name, and I know one of them, Dominion, have you heard that?
I have no idea.
Okay,
It means
Dominion is
nothing.
one of the brands.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Okay, it's like Chevy and a Ford.
Well, the discussion is like, these are new machines off, like, the newest thing going.
Correct.
So what's the issue with the older machines?
Folds, spin, folds,
Mr.
you used
Leonard
to,
was,
Folds in, I think, right in
Okay.
both of the two that I've heard.
alright,
you used,
right.
some will recognize
So
different.
the Wyndham ones would be the older type.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. So we knowing some of the known defective sides to those.
Right.
So, here again, it makes perfect sense to let somebody else test drive it.
And that was, a lot of people are thinking that way. But not to throw the idea out, I mean, I
No,
think
no,
we gotta
I'm
embrace the idea.
That's not
Cause
my point.
we've seen, this board has seen so many elections, and we've had, the poor town clerk, I mean, she gets home at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I think, yeah, she gets paid for it, I'm all
We
with that.
sign up for that every
Yeah,
3 years.
yeah, I realize
There's another
that,
position in town here called the road agent.
Yes.
Similar situations, that guy just keeps signing up for some dumb reason.
We don't care about
So
him.
you gotta,
it goes,
you sign up for it, you gotta take the good with the bad.
I so noted, the thing is, but sometimes we even struggle to get volunteers.
Oh,
You got it.
And to count votes.
That's
And-
true.
and
I'm not-
And I say
I'm not
volunteers,
denying that.
we pay the people, and most people don't even want the dollars, they do it out of their hearts.
They're doing it because they wanna help the town.
Right,
I understand.
but the thing is, we're getting to a point where, we're getting too many
I
voters.
don't, I'm not here to debate that fact with you.
Okay,
It's more about the machinery.
understood. But the machinery, again, these have been, these are new models.
Yeah.
Basically, for new purchases, we have to go with what the state recommends, the state approves. And those are the only two we're gonna be allowed to do. But I like the idea of, let it go through a test
Oh,
year.
yeah, for sure.
So as a town, like what got us to this point? Like, is it just complaints of time, or is it complaints of money, or
Long night.
like where? Yeah, where? Like
Well,
what got us to be like, hey, we need
A little
to.
bit of everything, a little bit of everything.
We get an email from the Secretary of State saying that they had approved them, the town clerk gets it, so she brought it up to us. And as we've been doing these voting and counting, we've been talking about this, because when you are out there 18, 20 hours.
Sure.
I don't know, who's gonna count, you know, You're starting your counting after they close the town meeting on most cases. So you're starting already late at night when most people already work 8, 10, 12 hours. And you're expecting everybody to be at the top notch to count all this stuff and. I know ours is accurate, but I know that we go over it 3 and 4 and 5 times to make sure it's accurate. Matching the book that people sign in on with the book that they come out on, with the numbered ballots. And then we get all kinds of silly people think it's fun to do write-ins, right? All them write-ins gotta be counted separate, all listed separate. You
And
know,
that
Charlie Brown and all these other ones, they all need to be listed.
You're not gonna get away from that.
No, we're not.
It's always gonna be.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and I think it's prudent too, that you're gonna wait to work out some of the kinks. You have-
I think that's,
You know, vote
that's the
vote for
direction
four,
we're
vote
leaning
for-
to.
Right.
The purpose of this meeting, we wanted to get some feedback from you
Yeah.
all. And, and you're giving us some of the feedback.
The machine's only gonna be as good as the programming that's done for it, okay? You can't have if then maybe, it's gotta be if then this, if then not this, what I used to do programming. So
Right.
the programming's gotta be accurate. If you have, you vote for 5, only 5, and there's 10 people running and somebody only voted for 4, now you have an undervote, that's gotta come out, things like this. So yeah, let them work the bugs out of it for.
And you know,
for a
we're
year or
calling
two.
these new units, but it could just be new programming, it could be the same
Could be,
shape.
yeah.
He's talking about.
I think Dominion's
And
still
so if they
in
had
there.
an error, they're gonna fix the programming, not change
Dominion
the
was what was
machine.
in Wyndham, I believe. Yeah, so.
Okay, before I close up, a few more, I'll take a few more comments.
Okay, yeah, Shannon Parham, Blackbrook Road.
Yeah.
I do come often, well, almost every time to help.
I
with the
recognize you,
counting.
sir.
Yeah, thank you. To help count the votes. I definitely lean more towards the paper ballots, and I hear what we're saying about, hey, let's delay and see what happens, you know, because they'll work out the kinks and stuff like that. But we've had technology encounters for decades now, so, you know, 4, 6, 8 years ago, they would have said, hey, this is the newest one, and no problems here, then we have problems. And it sounds like we have either a really good accurate count, or if there is a hiccup, it could be $100,000 hiccup and lots of time and stuff like that. So definitely lean towards the paper ballots, and if we are gonna wait to see how these play out, maybe even 2 cycles out.
I think, I hear you loud and clear, I think that's, it may be prudent for a town to wait. And, but not throw out the idea of the technology completely out.
Agreed. Right.
Any other last comments before I close the public hearing? We may ask a question at town meeting too, just to get even a show of hands of which way the flavor of the town is going.
That's gonna add 2 more hours, right?
But the thing is, we may do that, but the thing is, but we wanted to get again, thank you for giving input, we wanna get a flavor for what's going on, what you guys think, because sometimes we make decisions in a void, and sometimes we don't know which way the public's thinking, and so that was the reason we wanted to do a public hearing on this.
It's also required by the state that we have a public hearing.
Yeah.
That's
We could've done it on a social.
That's not part of it then.
Minor point.
It's in your court, end the town meeting earlier.
I'm sorry, say again?
It's in your court, end the town meeting earlier.
That's true.
That's up to John.
Just vote yes on it, but, all right, I'll close that portion, I say thank you for doing that. And, I have another public hearing immediately thereafter, if you just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We have, it's a little bit late, but they're all here. We were talking about, adoption of a community power plan. And, I'm gonna let them speak to it, and so I don't misinterpret any of the facts. Let me introduce this gentleman, sir, if you, your name for the record, for the.
Robert Hayden, Bob Hayden, Standard Power.
And he's been chatting with us for over 2 meetings. He's introducing a concept which we've all been experiencing. Remember the idea that how we were solicited in the mail and the ads and mailers, buy your electricity from us, you can
We
still
got
use
more
it.
seats up front here if you guys wanna come to listen to it.
Yes, please.
These suppliers have been trying to,
Does anybody want handouts? I got a few handouts. I'm gonna run out, I know I am. You guys have heard the story before. Yeah.
Couple times.
So, Standard Power started doing this program based on RSA 53E, but there's been a long process prior to that of legislation that's enabled this. And, the last enabling bill was HB 315. And, that was a rather miraculous legislative effort. by Mike Bose from Epping. He put together a bipartisan group of people to work on the bill, and it was one of the few bipartisan votes that passed in that whole session, so it was rather impressive. But it was also indicative of the fact that the opportunity for communities to have lower cost electricity and possibly more renewable energy by choice is a very popular idea both legislatively and across the state. My company is Standard Power. We're out of Nashua. I'm from Lineborough, so I'm in the neighborhood. We administer and rebuild old hydroelectric plants for group net metering, along with a bunch of solar facilities. So we participate in a lot of renewable energy stuff here. We've provided municipal, school, and commercial electricity services for the last decade, and have been involved in the legislative process for many actions, but particularly community power here to talk tonight. We are at 30 towns now who have signed up, including Dunbarton, to go through the process. We launched 4 earlier this year: Swansea, Marlborough, Wilton, and Keene. Keene was the leader of that group. We're launching in the next few weeks New Boston, Milford, and Jaffrey. And then we have a bunch of other towns who are going to town meeting. Your energy committee is hoping to go through this process rather promptly over the next couple of months and have it on the, for town meeting in a warrant article to approve. Our approval rating at town meetings is a very high 86%, so we folks want this for the most part. Right now, our average rate for this program is 11.4. Some of our competition out there is at 12.5. Eversource's rate is 12.5, but going down. One of the things about community power that's important, probably one of the most important things, is that your utility still delivers the electricity. Transmission and distribution stays the same. Only one thing changes on the bill, and that's the supply cost and the terminology. So right now, it would say the utility name, supply. So Eversource Supply, Unitil Supply. In the future, if you go through with this program, it'll say Dunbarton Supply.
Or Dunbarton Community Power.
Too many letters.
Too many long.
Too many letters for the line. The line has 25 characters.
Oh.
So, yeah. So the utility still comes and fixes the wires when the, poles go down, or when there's a windstorm or an ice storm. They're the ones who come and fix it. I don't go doing that stuff. So I enjoy the fact that, particularly on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve last year, not this year, but a year ago, we had a storm that knocked out a lot of electricity across the state, and they were there, and my power went on at 5:30 in the morning, and I was real glad, because I was supposed to cook breakfast for my whole family, so I was pretty darn happy with the Eversource folks. But the power was out in Lineborough recently for this windstorm we had just a few days ago, and so I did a meeting for your energy committee down in Milford on my phone. Went back, and the trucks were coming out of my neighborhood, the Eversource trucks were coming out of the neighborhood because they had hooked the power back up. Anyway, for the most part, this program can buy electricity at lower rates than the utility can because we have more flexibility. The utilities buy electricity in 6-month chunks on a 3-day window. And frankly, they're not compensated to do it. So although they do a good job, it's a very narrow job they do. In a program like this, we have the flexibility of timing, buying at the right time, buying when prices are low, and term, so we can have a longer term if it satisfies the pricing and the committee and select board's desires for the program. In addition, a program like this can help facilitate more renewable energy for the individuals or in community projects. So I know that your town is fairly advanced in doing renewable energy projects, but this might facilitate a little more. And other things that I think are important, or that the program does, is it gives a little bit more control over pricing and length of price, so price stability to the community. It provides some consumer protections because we're informing the community more about what's going on with their energy pricing. Allows for programs that the community or committee might want to enable. And it allows exactly what we're doing here, which probably is the most important thing, is talking to the community about the program, letting everybody know a little bit about how energy works and how it can be controlled into the future. A lot of what we do when we start these programs is a rather substantive survey, and we've got about 2,600 respondents over the towns we've done so far. And gee, surprise, surprise! 87% of people want lower energy costs, right? Pretty easy. But also, people want more renewable energy, so we will try to provide that to them. They, in general, would like to pay a little bit less and have more renewable energy. Some percentage of people, about 10%, would pay more to have 100% renewable energy, and we provide that option. In Massachusetts, these programs have been around for a long time in Eversource territory, and their price, as you know, goes up and down. All our utilities go up and down every 6 months. So price stability is what they've been able to deliver in large part, and what we expect to deliver too, is a stable price and savings over time. Right now, the committee is at the beginning of this process, so down here is the process we'll go through. Your committee will approve a plan, submit it to the PUC, and then we'll eventually buy electricity. But there's a lot of little steps that go into that too that they'll be doing, so you know, if you can reach out through the leadership of the town, if you wanna be on the committee, there's probably room for more help. And because it's late, I'd be happy to answer questions, and that's a pretty brief conversation, so you're always welcome to send questions to bobhayden@standardpower.com. But do you have questions, team? Sir?
Yes, you're having, your 11.47 is pretty close to what Eversource has, and they're going down. Aren't they gonna land in about the same ballpark as you guys? Why should we go with you?
That's the price of our first launch group. Our second launch group is lower than that,
Okay,
and if we bought power today, it would be lower still.
still, okay,
Yes, sir.
alright, thanks.
And that's largely because of natural gas costs and mild weather. Because weather's been so mild, the use of natural gas is diminished, and there's a glut of natural gas, which is the primary driver of the cost of electricity.
Right.
Excuse me, just, could you guys say your name so when we have this, recorded?
Oh, sorry, Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob Leonard. Other questions? Yes, sir?
Oh, wait a minute, so, we got a pretty good rapport with Eversource, we work with them hand in hand, emergencies, they right in Bedford, they come right out. So, just for devil's advocate here, say, town of Dunbarton now doesn't buy power from Eversource, and we have a storm, and they go, hey, why should we go up to Dunbarton first? They're not buying power from us, you're gonna go to the bottom of the list to get repaired, we're gonna go to a town that buys power from us.
That's a great question. They don't make any profit on electricity, on actual sales of electricity. There's no revenue for them. Their revenue is on transmission and distribution. So they wanna be here quick, they wanna spend every penny they can to be prepared to be here when you need them, and they are. And they will continue to be, because that's where they make that 10% that their shareholders enjoy. They, at this time, they don't get any revenue from doing supply, and that's the part we're doing. Sir?
Who printed this?
One of my teammates.
Why did it have the town seal
Um,
on it? It has a Dunbarton town seal on it. I just feel that's kinda, that makes a statement. Did anybody get permission to put
It
that on?
already says Dunbarton,
No,
Town
but
of
I-
Dunbarton Community Power, that's
So-
not in effect yet.
That's what I
So
mean,
why
it's
is it
kinda,
already
it looks to
like-
me like a little bit of advertising,
It's
there,
like
smoke and
it's
mirrors.
preemptive.
It would be more official if it
community-
had the seal on it.
The community has signed a memorandum of understanding that will proceed and develop this
I
process
didn't
for
sign
you.
any community understanding.
No, you did not.
I did not.
We
did. Yeah, but these three guys are elected to run the affairs of a town financially, not where we get our power.
So, it will be a warrant
Yeah, but
article.
why didn't we solicit the residents directly?
It will be a warrant article.
I would hope so.
Well, no, it will be, It's not a hope.
I'm saying I hope so.
yeah.
Well, we've got this far with a seal on propaganda that you people produced. Good or bad? There's other businesses in town that I think would enjoy sending flyers and stuff out with the seal of Dunbarton on it. Hey, the town, that's part of the town, that's a good thing.
I don't know how to answer that question. It is a good thing.
Yeah.
And we're trying to
No,
provide a
but-
good thing for your community.
Did you ask anybody if you could do that?
I think it's easy to grab it off of a lot of places.
The answer to my question.
I,
It's yes or no, not, it's easy to do this, it's not easy to do that.
I do not know the answer to that question. Did anybody on my team ever ask? Okay, so no.
Alright. That's one of my major, the other concern is, I agree with John totally, Eversource has been very good to us as residents over the years. Yeah, they might not always be the cheapest, and yeah, they're gonna come out and get the lines up, but it's no secret that they go where the meters are first. A lot of times, we spend a while without power, because it makes sense to go to the more populated areas, get everything going, and they have to do a system, so there's no guarantee they're gonna be here just like that. It depends what the storm is, the conditions, the severity of the storm.
But they are
No, they do.
a for-profit company,
Yep.
and they don't profit from the supply piece.
No, I understand that.
But they still would recoup from getting the supply out there. You know, they still break even on that, if they're not making money on it, they still wanna get that up and running again, so they still get that revenue in.
On the
even though-
transmission and distribution,
As
that's,
far as supply, they would wanna get the revenue in still, is my point. Even though they're not making a profit off it, they still need to recoup the revenue.
I think if you check with
You know,
public
it's just
service,
by business.
if you check with public service, in the very near future, they'd like to supply no power at all. They're getting paid, as he's saying, on maintaining the lines, that's why you see these power lines being upgraded yearly, they're upgraded every year by my house. They put up new wood poles, now they're coming to put new steel poles. They get paid 10% on everything they spend doing that portion of it. But on the power itself, you can already go and buy powers from a different company yourself now.
Right.
They are not allowed not to come out and not maintain them poles. They're not gonna look, and say, hey, this guy's not buying power from us. That's a whole separate division with them.
I have another question. I've heard, I never went to any of these other meetings, but I heard, and it could be incorrect, that if the town agrees to go with this, we have to switch to Dunbarton Community Power.
No.
We have no choice,
No.
That's incorrect.
okay?
What
I just
okay,
told
no,
you, that's what I
and I
heard.
think that was my concern too.
Yeah.
And because I wanna say, I like Eversource, let's say, I
Yeah.
think they're great. They're gonna send mailings out with a postage return, I opt out, I don't wanna be part of this, I wanna stay with Eversource.
Why wouldn't it be the other way around?
it is.
I want.
It has been for 20 years.
Yeah, I wanna opt in to you, not, I wanna opt out of you.
It
I'm with
is.
Eversource, I shouldn't have to say, I wanna stay with Eversource, I don't want you.
How's
But
it just,
I heard it
go
was
through the mechanics
automatic.
here, if you would be.
So, the law was passed after several years of dickering around with it. It's RSA 53E. It was enabled by HB 315. So it is part of law that this program exists. The process, when we launch a plan, is that we send out a card saying, watch your mail for the information about your community power plan. In that is a letter describing the pricing and all of the concerns, and a mail back card for folks who are eligible. eligibility is based on being on Eversource, not on some other third-party supplier, because for the last 18 years, you could buy power from somebody else. This is one where we're doing it as a group for better pricing. You get a mail-back card that you can mail back and make choices, one of which is to stay with the utility. And then additional levels of renewable energy. That car, if you are on a third-party supplier now, and you go off and go back to Eversource, every month we get the data from Eversource about people who are newly eligible and send them that same mailing. So that's the process that was codified by our legislature and is now in law.
So you're correct, it is an opt-out, not an opt-in system. So when you opt out, you go back to Eversource.
The question though, I think I'm hearing from him is that, let's say, you're gonna have those that go to the mailbox, say, oh, this is junk, throw it away, then they find out when they get the electric bill, that they're automatically on this community power, when they didn't sign up for it.
That is exactly how
You see
it
what I'm
works.
saying?
It is exactly how it works, yes.
And there's a remedy to that. On a monthly basis, they say, well, I never signed up for it, I want out of it. At the following month, they can contact the company and they're out.
They can
Am I correct?
call, they can email, or they can go to the website to opt out.
And they can opt in or out.
Is there,
On a
Every
monthly
month you
basis.
can opt in or out.
is there an electricity interruption?
Pardon me?
Is there an interruption at
No,
that point?
no, the power flows no matter what, from whatever supplier there is, so it could be any supplier, including Eversource or all of the other ones that are approved by the PUC. So, there's no interruption in service, but the changes are on the meter read date. So the meter's read month, one day a month, that's the day the changes take effect that you ask for.
So as a consumer, what's the benefit to me? Is it just lower prices?
Potentially lower prices and the ability to choose more renewable energy. Sir?
Can you explain more about how, you get the power, how you make these, I guess, contracts for power? How secure are they? Like,
So-
I've been to your website, it almost sounds like a gamble, like you go out, you're gambling instead of Eversource is secure, whereas you guys sound like you're gambling for power.
We buy the
And-
power from the same folks Eversource does.
Okay,
So in this current bid they're doing, the companies that bid on it are primarily Nextera and Constellation. And Eversource bought it on a 3-day window for 6 months. We can buy for a longer term, and we can buy any day of the year when prices are good. Those are vendors we use.
so you can buy it any day of the year, whereas they have to do it only on 3 days?
3 days, twice a year, in 6-month chunks of power.
Oh,
And the PUC regulates that, so the benefit I saw of this system is on Eversource, like you've had for the last 2 years, ever since COVID seemed to come around. You get a low rate for half the year, and in the middle of winter, they turn up and they get the high rate. 6 months later, they go back down. And so it's a cycle now like this. It never used to be like that. It was constant almost all year long. It'd go up and down a little bit. But now these last 2 years, we're changing by 10 and 12 cents in the middle of the year on us, doubling our rate. What I like about his is if you pick that lower rate, for 30 months, you can forget about it. You don't have to look at your bill every 6 months. You know for 30 months, I'm buying it at the lower rate.
well, are your rates regulated by the PUC?
Our process is,
But not the rate?
not the rate.
But isn't the PUC looking out for the consumer when they set
The
the
consumer
rates?
advocate and the PUC.
So
So the process
what would-
we're following has been approved by law. And
But the Eversource is limited to the rate that they can charge, but you guys.
no, they're not limited. They can charge whatever they want,
Well-
whatever the market bears, they can charge.
I thought it had to be approved by the PUC still, though.
The PUC only approves the process of them soliciting the rate.
Oh, they're
It doesn't
approving
approve
that
the,
process.
in so doing, they approve the rate, but all they do is say that the process followed by Eversource, Unitil, Liberty
Oh,
was appropriate.
oh, okay.
Question here.
Well, just wanna add some information. I have, a another supplier. I don't use Eversource.
Yep.
I've been with this supplier for 2 years, I have another year to go. It's just a hair over 8 cents a kilowatt hour,
Direct,
Wow.
direct.
yeah, they're
It
really
doesn't
good.
cost me anything to be with them. I haven't been bullied once by them. I can drop out whenever I want, if I wanna go with Eversource.
And if you
which would
call
be
them and
nuts.
ask for an extension,
And-
they'd say
Oh,
yes.
right, and the other part is, when I get my bill, I get the bill for what Direct's charging me for the power. Then I get Eversource's bill, which is twice as much as what power I got.
Yeah.
So I'm completely satisfied with the way I'm doing it.
So-
And I think people here, it sounds like people are a little worried about, but it's pretty simple,
Yeah,
it's
but
really.
you made all your choices.
Right.
Yeah, you will too.
Well, yeah, but we haven't to this point. It all goes down to the town seal.
Well,
That's
no,
the start of the
you
smoke and
still can
mirrors.
make your decision.
Yeah, no.
Bob, could you also touch on, how your organization, your group, is able to search for the better prices? You said something about, at the last meeting, that there's a goal of kilowatts that you,
Oh, okay, volume.
volume, yeah.
So far, we've been packaging towns together in groups. Like, the one that just is launching is, Milford, New Boston, and Jaffrey, of approximately 100 million kilowatt hours per year. Dunbarton's probably about 5 million kilowatt hours, so there'd be other towns that you'd be grouped with to approach that 100 million kilowatt hour size, so that we have good buying power and low rates. In our first group of 3, it was Direct who's the supplier. So they are participating in this program here in New Hampshire. Yes, sir?
So our whole town isn't supplied by Eversource, we have Unitil,
I do know that.
from that part of town,
Yep.
over east is all Unitil, so that won't affect anything in the town
No,
doing this.
no, sir. The suppliers, serve all the utilities, or we wouldn't solicit them.
Now, talk about the rates, in the sense that we know Eversource is gonna lower the rates to 8 cents and change.
Yep.
Come March, and thing is, you said you shop around on a daily basis for the best rates.
We
Let's
should-
say your rate's 9 cents, we can actually wait before we execute to maybe in September or in August.
Right.
When the rate's actually lower, and then we can lock
Yeah,
it in.
we wouldn't
correct?
buy power unless it was lower than the current rate. So,
What are you buying it for now?
pardon me,
What are you buying it for now?
today,
Yeah.
8.7.
What are you paying, Leo?
E3.
How come you're not buying it from Direct?
I just said we were. We are for the
They
first
did buy
group.
this like 3 years ago.
And the thing is, when we buy it, we can, what's the terms we can lock it at in for?
That's up to you.
Exactly, what are the options for us? For each individual?
Anything from 6 months to 48, but I wouldn't
Right.
encourage anything over
But
30.
would it be locked in at that same rate you just quoted me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I see as a benefit. And the nice part is you can opt out any month you want, not just 6 months, not 12 months, any month you want, you opt out. Now, one thing that wasn't explained is green energy. So you could choose, when you have this questionnaire that comes out to you, you can choose the cheapest power rate. Or some people like to think green, and he offers greener energy, so you could pay the same rate you're paying today, and it might be up in the green energy, so you can actually be, some people wanna feel good and buy the green energy, which is the solar and some other energy that he talks about. And some towns actually opt not to take the lowest one,
Yeah,
they take a greener so their town can be greener.
yes, most towns have taken 10% additional renewable.
Was that individual, a person could pick?
Yes, sir.
As long as-
So 0% renewable extra, so the RPS, Renewable Portfolio Standard, says you automatically have 24% any electricity on our grid. You could choose to have that, or an additional 10%, or a total of 50%, or a total of 100%.
Now, I personally feel that that's just marketing, trying to appeal to the
Yeah,
green people.
exactly.
You know, because I
Brian
think,
doesn't know the difference.
exactly, the electricity I want, I just want the cheapest rate I can get at my house. And-
Fair enough.
But the thing is, I think it's unique, because some people think that way, and more power to them. Everyone's an individual, and you have that power to make your own decision, that's the beauty of it.
Yep. So I'm one of those people, at my house, I make 115% of my own electricity with solar. So that is my belief.
So if I call you and opt out, am I gonna talk to a person?
Pardon me?
If I call to opt out, am I gonna talk to a person?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Probably not me.
Cause
If you call,
most businesses I do business with, it's pretty hard to get stuff done on the phone.
Yeah.
well,
It is.
so we expect that most people will use the mailback card or, you know, use the website, but we do have human-based service, and for the tough questions, and there are some tough questions, it usually ends up with me or one of my teammates.
And some people have solar panels in town, how are you gonna deal with those people?
Well, the utilities don't make it easy for us to deal with group net metering or net metering for individual solar on residential facilities. But we do know the rules really well. And so for those folks, we encourage them to call us. And in some cases, let us take a look at their bills individually and give them individual counsel on what their preferences are for how their solar system will interact with this program or not. So if they say we want the greenest power we can have, that's the information we give them. If they say we want the cheapest power we can have, that's the information we give them. And it varies by the year they installed their program and the relative size of the solar project to their load.
So those solar people sell the power back to Eversource, correct?
Essentially, yes.
And they couldn't sell it to you?
Not yet,
No.
not yet. Soon. Yes, sir.
So where would it leave, I'm gonna ask these guys, where would that leave us with a solar array at the transfer station?
We're gonna have to sit down and have a consultation with them.
I mean, it's probably, I think the numbers are out on whether that's even effective.
Oh, we've made money on that
Oh,
already.
we've made money.
Yes, we have. Not a lot, not a lot, but the thing is, we make enough to cover our payments, our monthly payments, and we make a few dollars every month.
But we would have an opinion on the matter.
But we would be one example where.
I
he
would
had
say
to-
that would be a good leverage thing.
Absolutely, he'd
You
have,
wanna,
to-
you wanna supply Dunbarton power, you gotta take our transfer station.
Only if it's prudent.
Well,
It might not be prudent.
yeah.
Remember, the utility doesn't give us enough data to do the job.
So, your company, what is it, a bunch
Standard
of
Power.
offices on in Suite 400 at the Brady Sullivan Tower?
No, sir.
Such a desk?
No, we're at we're in 17
You
Technology
actually
Way in
own
Nashua.
some power producing?
Assets?
Yeah,
Some hydros, yeah.
okay, actually own something.
Hydros, yes.
I don't care what
Hydro-
it is, other than a telephone and a computer and a desk.
when he was
We
at,
got those things too.
when he talked to us, I asked him this question: Sir, how do you make your money?
I make 1/10 per kilowatt hour that we deliver.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the whole, you buy it from companies that make.
Pardon me?
You mean the
Really
company
makes it.
makes that much?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our revenue.
Well, would we get, if the town got into this program, would that give us buying power and negotiation power to get a lower rate for our town?
Again, we would want to add you with other towns, and you would represent probably 5% of a buying group, because we want to be at 100 million kilowatt hours when we go to market on your behalf.
Who represents the buying group?
We do.
They would, yeah.
So,
We-
all towns equally?
Yes.
Yeah,
No, cause I was gonna say, if you got a town that's supplying you with more kilowatt hours, do they have more pull than a town that doesn't supply you as much?
so far, no. I would say it's possible that, you know, if we had a couple of smaller towns in a
Yeah.
group that said, we wanna do this,
Yeah,
and that this was different than the consensus.
yes,
Then they would probably aggregate communities of like minds.
Yeah.
So that we would put together a group of whatever that choice was
Yes.
or thought was, we'd put them together.
But right now, the small towns and the big towns pay the same rate for that 100.
Absolutely, absolutely.
as we speak today.
That's what you would.
No, I think the only difference would ever be is that some towns might say, oh, we wanna put a little adder in for our projects. So we wanna make a side fund, so we wanna charge the project 0.2 more per kilowatt hour, and then we want that money to go into the town's fund for renewable energy projects. Some towns are very motivated to do things like
Yeah.
that. It wouldn't change us buying the power is still the power.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, you're just purchasing them both.
We're just purchasing the power.
On both.
If it has different amounts of renewable energy, we just buy renewable energy certificates and layer them in. We're working really hard to collect projects in the area so that we have local projects that will be contributing those RECs to the additional RECs bought by the community power programs. So like one of our hydros is Pine Valley down in Milford-Wilton border. We work with a couple of solar developers where we'll be capturing more New Hampshire RECs because they're in demand for these programs.
I had a question I asked them last time. If you have a power outage, does my power go down, or does it Eversource's go down? Who goes down? They just add to the network. It's all electricity. Electricity is electricity. It's all generic. If it goes down, it all goes down.
Yeah.
So green power doesn't stay on better than.
Correct.
It still comes back on,
The sun's not out, you still get power.
all that stuff.
So whatever it was 18 years ago or so, Eversource and all those other companies that owned power, the PUC told them, you've gotta diversify and sell that off.
Yeah.
We want you just taking care of the power, delivering the power. That's why the coal plant gets sold and all these other facilities where they own hydros and coal plants, they had to get rid of those and sell them off. Now other companies own them. So when they look to buy power, they go up on the grid and they say use cheaper for the day and they pull power in from that. So they pull it from gas, from nuclear, from coal, from all these different entities when they're providing power to you. And that's a cost to them that they're not recuperating. Like he said, it's money in, money out kind of level. They just as soon not do it and have companies like this because the PUC is not allowing them to make a percentage on that. But delivering the power to you, that's why they're upgrading all these lines, because they can
I
spend
like
that money
it
and
because
make
when I
money.
flip my switch on, when they upgrade the lines, the power
Yeah.
comes on. I think it's important.
It's wicked important. I call the leadership of Eversource up because I know them and
We
I
as a
thank them.
community continue to draw more and more power from their lines.
Yeah.
So they need to be upgraded.
Now, sir, you're gonna have another public hearing?
We will have at least one, no, we'll have two more.
Two more.
We'll have another one like this, at the discretion of the committee. And then we'll have one, probably the week of January 22nd, if we get the process all done and we're ready to be on, the town meeting vote. We would have another one on the week of the 22nd.
So what we've done as selectmen is sign a memorandum to start the process, to get it in front of town meeting. And we've given this task to the energy committee to get out to the public with the mailers and flyers and all that, and try and have those public meetings and make the town as much aware of it as possible.
We are not gonna make the decision, the voters will make the decision at town meeting.
Yeah.
So we just signed the memorandum to get the process started.
I
So
not
will it be a
binding.
warrant article?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
They have to do the 25 signatures and all that?
no, they brought it before the board will put it on the warrant.
So how come, okay. Never mind, I'm not gonna ask.
So you only have to do that if the selectmen don't approve the warrant.
Correct.
For 25 signatures.
Do you have a question, sir, still?
I just had a couple of questions. First off, if I'm understanding the process, it's gonna be, I'm gonna get something in the mail,
Two things,
two things in the mail, and that's up to me to opt out.
if you choose to.
If not, I'm gonna get swept up in this and we're gonna be going.
Yep.
Okay, I don't appreciate that process, okay?
Yeah.
This is my house and my electricity and I decide who I use, and just because the town wants to go a certain way.
Did
I
you
don't
decide who you use?
think- Did I?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Who?
I'm using Eversource.
But you didn't decide, it was just given to you.
Well,
You had no choice.
right, but
They
what I'm
only
saying
gave
is,
the town, they had the wires.
what I'm saying is, if you're gonna offer something and it's a choice, then it should be a choice, not if you don't decide, then decide, not to decide is to decide. That's what you're
I
giving me.
agree with you, that's the only thing I dislike about this.
Right.
But they are following the procedure which our legislature says.
Right, yeah, I
And
get
so,
it, I
and
get
so
that,
you can't, really- you can't get mad at him for following the
No,
procedure.
I'm not mad at Bob, I'm
And you know
not.
what else?
What?
I've been working more nights than I have in years,
Yeah, oh, of course.
because all this is at night.
Of course. Now, the other question I would have is, okay, this 11.47 or whatever. Oh, we all gonna, you're gonna sign up for 6 months and he's gonna sign up for 36 months?
No, the town will choose a term.
Okay.
So
But
the
you
town-
can opt out of that term anytime you want, every month.
Right,
You wanna go back to Eversource, go.
okay.
You wanna go to direct power like he did, direct to them?
Yep.
You go, you wanna go to community power, a different one, go, I mean,
Okay.
just.
And the only advantage I see is that rather than me as an individual trying to negotiate with a private supplier, he has 100,000 kilowatts, he's buying a big chunk of power for the
Right.
best lowest price, and he's sharing with us,
Okay.
for a small percentage for him.
Right. Alright, it's gotta make sense, but
Pardon me?
How many other companies are out there you could buy power from? Work with?
Ones that we trust, about half a dozen, but there's probably 20.
Tell them all the towns that you've signed up there. You did it off your head the last 2 times.
Okay, so the towns that are already on power, on the program, are Keene, Swansea, Marlborough, and Wilton. The towns that are gonna launch in the next couple of weeks are Jaffrey, New Boston, and Milford. And then we have another, 8 or 10 towns, I think 8, that are ready to go with approved plans, which include Derry, Plastow, and a few others. And then we have another group that are coming to town meeting, that include yourselves and, Lineborough, Bennington, Greenfield. So those are all small towns, and they'll all have the same vote as anybody else that they're with, since we have done municipal and school district power for a long time for many of those communities, and we've always given them the same voice as everybody else.
Have you ever been defeated at town meeting with one of these?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Our percentage of vote needs to be 51%, we're running over 86%.
Okay,
and you need to have, you need to have 100 million kilowatt hours in a group, that's what you're buying for.
That's our preference.
That's your preference, okay, preference.
You have less than that, does the price go up?
It might be measurable at 80 million kilowatt hours, but it would be hard to measure.
It goes up.
It could.
The answer, yes or no questions.
It's not a yes or no answer.
We don't need percentages.
It's not a yes or no
Yeah,
answer
it is.
question though, it's a daily market where you're bidding all the time, if, you know, if,
Yeah, but you just told me on one side of the coin, more volume, we get a better price.
typically, yes.
More volume, we get a better price.
Typically, yes.
Less volume, we get a worse price.
alright, I'm gonna bring this to order.
It's
Sir,
pretty
I-
simple, man.
It's not a simple market, sir.
It
You
is.
can come to my office and visit if you want. but-
Alright, please, sir, I look forward to having another one of these episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring a plaque back,
You're
a plaque
welcome to
chestnut.
call, really.
Yeah.
I could give you my
Well,
teammates.
you had me going when you tried to make me think Lineborough was our neighbor.
It's not your neighbor, it's
You
close.
said that. You said, I'm your neighbor.
Oh, I am from
You
Lineborough.
said you were my neighbor, you're from Lineborough.
It's on
I've
Route
lived around
13,
here long
that's all I
enough to know what my neighbors are.
Alright.
You said you were from Boston.
New Boston isn't your neighbor either though, right?
No, they're not. I
They're
didn't
not
say
quite.
they were.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you
so
for-
close
very
then.
much.
Right.
Good to see y'all.
Thank you all. More what?
Alright,
Items to do?
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, you guys are heroes.
Alright, I'm gonna close the public hearing, thank you for,
Thank you for your time.
yep, thank you
And
for
thank
your,
you for the great questions.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Let's see, we got Cole back there.
I'll give a minute for those who wanna clear out, we still have a few more
Oh, I
things.
still
to
give
do.
you a hard time.
People a hard time. Yeah, oh, man.
Somebody's gotta do it. Gotta keep your people honest. I'm looking at
I know it. I got
Just around the table.
Public comment.
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
No general public comment.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're going back to the old select board way, there's no public comment anymore.
One round,
It's way out.
one round, if you're not here for the front of the meeting.
Alright, I'm gonna open up for public comment, I'll start in the back row. Leo, no, sir, if you have, Mr. Road Agent,
Yeah, I got a little situation going on,
okay,
may need your assistance with.
okay,
You're familiar, we're having a project going on Guile Hill Road.
yes.
Lean got some complaints from the neighbors up there about the condition of the road, which is being caused by the work that's going on up there.
Emails?
Phone call was one
Phone
of them.
call this week, yeah.
One was a phone call. I have been up there several times and I talked to the developer, Rob Starris, about my concerns a couple weeks ago. And I didn't get a chance to get back up there today and see what was going on, but, I told him that he needs to get a handle on what's going on up there, cause that is a good road, it's a dirt road, and it's taken a lot of abuse. They're running an off-the-road truck up and down the road, moving fill from one site to the other. already told Rob I wasn't giving him any more driveway permits until we came up with an overall game plan for the remaining 3 lots. Which
Do we have any bond money left from that?
that was not bond money, it's exaction money to fix up the road, improve the road, not repair the road from their work. Would like to propose, I don't know if we can do it or not, on his next building permit, that we put a cash bond into place of like $10,000, so if any road repairs need to be done, that there's money there to do it, the town doesn't have to pay for it, the rest of the town doesn't have to pay for it.
I know he's been pretty responsive to you before in the past.
It's not him, it's his contractor. He's in Florida. Donna emailed him, never heard anything back from him today with my concerns.
Is he, how
Do we
close-
do we have an avenue we can do that, or, I mean, I'm pushing for it, I'm asking for it.
We'll have to check in with our attorney to see
I was
if we
gonna
do
say,
have
I like
legal
the
avenue.
idea, but I think
Yeah.
we gotta make sure legally.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
I have no issue with that.
It just seemed, last time he was very responsive when you had, dollar
Communicated
questions
with
for him when you started that project.
Yeah, everything was good when he wanted the approval,
What did you call it? An exaction fee?
No, bond.
No,
A
cash
bond,
bond.
okay.
like a performance bond. What's happening is they're taking this, due to weather conditions as part of it, they're dragging a lot of mud off the sites down into the road, and it's leaving a layer of slimy mud on the existing gravel road.
I know the dirt roads are terrible right now.
Yeah, I agree, they are, but this is adding to the issue. And it's been going on all summer, we've had some other drainage issues and water issues out there with the water coming off the hill.
So
from
it
not-
might need to be a layer of gravel or some crushed rock or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
When's he supposed to be coming in for permits though?
I don't know when he will be.
Okay.
Probably, at this point, he has a permit to start another house, and I had given him a driveway permit on it, and I talked to him before Christmas, in person, on the site there, and explained it to him, and he just was unaware of the situation.
So have you issued a driveway permit yet?
That one I've issued,
But
but
no-
I
no
told him I
further.
wasn't gonna give him any more
Okay.
until we rectified the
But when the
situation.
roads get posted, he will not be able to.
Yeah, and it started a little bit last year when we had the road posting, they wanted to push the limit on
Yeah, I
that.
just don't know, we gotta make sure we go down the right legal avenue, cause doing it on an individual building lot might be something that.
It's the same developer.
Right, I know, but
Well,
He's
listen,
responsible as far as I'm concerned.
Let's reach
I
out.
was gonna say, he shouldn't be able to ruin the road like that.
Yeah.
Whether it be a tar road or anything like that,
Yeah,
someone's
exactly.
hacking down with
say a
an
logger
excavator.
wrecked the road, what is our avenue to get them to straighten out theirs?
What?
Say a logger wrecked the road similar,
Yeah.
what would happen?
We actually
They
have
typically-
none.
They
We just-
put bonds up, right? Don't they
We've
put
never
up?
required one to put them on.
Right,
We've never required it.
But with the,
When you build a new subdivision, we require a performance bond. They have to do that to meet the criteria so they can sell lots.
when you say there's damage now,
Yes.
alright,
Yeah. complaint from the-
alright, with the damage, with existing damage, we
We'll
will
have to at least scrape some mud off of it and then put some more gravel back.
okay.
The worst section, the worst problem is, I don't wanna complicate this too much for you, but the section that's getting the worst abuse right now is the section that was in the best shape because the previous owner had done a subdivision and upgraded the road from class 6 to a class 5. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the rest of the town and everything else. And at the end of the day, he's building houses, selling them, making a profit. It's not him personally, but he's hired the site contractor and I've explained it to him.
And
The
you
site
blown up.
contractor just seems to be ignoring the situation.
you know how the site contractor.
Oh, I know exactly.
I think we can
You gotta
support,
watch him.
I think
There's
we
gotta
can
be
support you.
something we can do, because
Yeah, I feel.
it's not, I mean, I couldn't track down a
Yeah.
road with my excavator
Exactly.
and ruin the pavement
Yeah.
and have the town pay for it and just put my hands
Exactly.
up
Yeah, just,
and
yeah.
walk away, so.
Their theory is, well, it's a dirt road. Well,
Yeah,
it's a dirt
exactly.
road, but it's a gravel dirt road. It's a
Yeah.
class 5 road at the end of the day.
And they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're in the dirt business, they know what they're doing.
This isn't some guy just,
So-
Well, and site trucks down the road too.
yeah, I just,
Let's make that a priority for tomorrow.
I will.
like I said, I would like to do something like that, but I don't legally if we can or not.
Can you stop by
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, and we'll just draft up an email to our attorney
Yeah.
and make sure I include everything you.
Yep.
Can you
Have to
CC us so we can follow
Yep,
it,
yep,
and his response too, cause
Yep.
Before there's any action, I think it should come back in front of the board, Mike.
I didn't want,
Say again?
Before this
I
action, it
could
should come in
go
front
to
of
cops
the
and
board.
do that, but that's
Oh,
just,
what, with the final action, yeah.
that's a bit petty.
No, yeah, we're the ones who are gonna.
Yeah, that's just a bit petty, but I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
not
like it to
so
come back to
concerned
us
about
and
whether
Right.
it's fucking
Right.
registered or not, that's a technicality, but the destruction to the road is.
Yeah, we know as
And,
people in the.
and
site-
especially working this, with the weather conditions we've been having last week.
Correct.
Can you
Oh,
put
yeah.
a cease and desist order on them?
Excuse me?
Yeah,
Could they place a cease and desist order on them?
Yeah, I don't know what the process is,
I
Leo.
don't see why not, because if,
Yeah, but
again, if it was
we'd have
me
to-
doing something, as he said, you
Yeah.
or someone would come to me with some
That-
papers
that's
and
a
say, you're done.
You can ask our
Yeah.
attorney that too.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know what the process is for doing that, I know that
yeah, well, ask
That
them.
process.
building department's done a little bit, but
Select board also.
there's a process you gotta go.
Yeah, I think we run it by the attorney who may be familiar with that,
Yeah,
and make sure we do the right thing.
what our options are.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we'll get back to the board and make a decision. If
Because-
we have to meet sooner, we'll meet sooner.
And, yes, I'm immediately concerned with what's going on today, but moving forward on these other lots, I'd like some protection long-term. And I have found that money is the best way to do that, cause if someone has to put up the money and then they choose not to do it, the town has the money. And again, I think that's a separate avenue to be able to use that money. I don't think.
How do we address the damage happening today,
Yeah.
and how do we protect us with the
Yeah.
other permits that
You
will
could
be
ask
issued?
him, I guess,
So the two
something about,
questions,
could we require a bond?
Cause it's a subdivision, but they are individual lots, so it's
Yeah.
not like it's on a subdivision road.
But he's the prime builder and they're all working under Rob Starr's direction.
And the things they've damaged the existing building,
Yeah.
and the things, we have to say that, what recourse do we
Yes.
have for the,
The other thing we should check to see if he gave them lot releases, or who's the ownership of the lots now in question, cause that will matter.
He does.
He does?
Yeah.
He hasn't done lot release or transferred anything?
But he's building the houses and selling. Some lots he's sold. There's owners living in the homes and everything else.
Yeah.
And he's building another one, then he will sell it, you know, that typical,
So he sold no lots before it's built on them?
not that I'm not, no, he builds the house, everything, complete package.
okay.
So I just asked him for a little help.
I think we can help, we'll try.
Yeah.
We're behind you.
Yeah.
Let's
I
Get the
just,
attorney.
that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I hate to have you have to spend money on the attorney, but we gotta, like you said, it's gotta be correct.
Yeah, if we make a mistake and we'll get paying legal fees the wrong
And
way.
who knows, you might, I might be
know,
able to
just-
tell him that, and he might say, alright, I'll put $10,000 up there.
Just something interesting, I'd like to check our own attorney too, but send that letter out to New Hampshire Municipal
HMA?
Association, and then send it to our attorney, just so we can see how they respond back,
Okay,
cause a lot of times we found that our
Yeah.
attorney doesn't always respond
No,
the way we want. I'd just like to see both their responses, cause I have an idea that because those are individual lots, it's gonna be more complicated than we think.
and then NHMA did develop the hard roads to travel for municipalities, and they've done a lot of,
Which is-
study on
So
cases.
it'd be interesting to see what they
The
both
Bible.
say, and then we'll go
yeah, it's a
from there.
quick reference,
Yeah.
it cites
And
lawsuits.
sometimes they reference exactly that, the cases that are
But-
in those in that book,
That's one of our services, let's use them,
Alright,
thank you.
absolutely.
Anything else? Where's the snow?
luckily this isn't in snow. Really pain in the butt, this is the last big rainstorm.
In the mud, yeah.
You know, you got just time to talk a minute? Seeing how you brought it up with John about truck stuff, I've been doing some more research on a truck and I'll have, I got a rough idea today, but by the next meeting I'll talk about it, cause we ought to talk about how we're gonna craft
Timing.
our financing and his financing.
Okay.
Oh, I got a headache.
No, it's not complicated,
No.
it's just a direction to choose.
I know you were looking at lease for sure.
Well, that's a possibility, but there's downsides to that too.
Exactly.
I mean,
Okay. You
Yeah, like
get
his
some,
police proposal didn't seem that good to me.
It's a finance, it's a roundabout finance charge, so you're gonna pay more, but we can talk about it one meeting, it's
Okay.
after 9.
I'm
Okay.
going to look at my, deadlines for public hearing and everything else, and I may be required to call a special meeting, because if I wait too long to look at the last,
We have no-
These are our
Yeah,
two
we all
big
said
ones,
we
Lean,
are
the rest
fine
are
with
all easy.
This
so-
is just trying to decide how to, I think, pretty definite, John needs a truck, it's just
Right.
how to craft the
yeah.
funding of it.
We crafted
Just-
his already.
Yeah, okay. We can get a truck next year, we don't have, it can, supply and demand isn't an issue anymore.
Okay.
So why don't,
In
why
fact,
don't
if
you
we go
come-
with the same,
Why don't you come to the next meeting just for your warrants?
He is, because he's on the
I'm gonna come with town forest,
town
okay.
forest.
and that's a quickie anyway. That's a
So if you
house-
have your warrant information, we can start
Yeah.
with you, because
Yeah.
I actually don't think we're gonna need, cause other than these two, the rest are simple budget.
Yeah, but it's
those
just,
are standard, yeah.
it's a
But there's
balance of
two
numbers.
options that I have to present to the board that are almost 99% done, so you can make an informed decision that this is
Yeah.
the way we wanna go. Because the attorney still has to review my warrant, on
Yeah,
my
no,
language.
just to, I don't wanna give you, take too much of your time on it, no, anyway. Just to let you know, like the Western Star, we go with that same truck. He will place an order in January for that truck. If something happened at town meeting and it got turned down, there'd be no hard feelings. They'd sell it to another town or whatever, because they want some inventory, and it's kind of a generic spec. It's not, it's like Johnson, it's not all the bells and whistles, but it's got what the town needs to adequately do the job. So he would say, hey, we put an order in for you, and it's 6 months, 180 days from the time they place an order. So if we went to town meeting and the voters said, hey, no way, we're not spending any more money, we're not doing this, we're not doing that, and it all went south, we wouldn't be committed at all.
And
But
what,
we'll have the truck price earmark, and it would be at the price today,
financed or leased option?
either
Either
way,
or, it
write him a
doesn't
check or pay him, yeah.
Yeah, let's look at your numbers, we'll have, next week, we'll.
Yeah.
I'll have the capital reserve balances, and then
Yeah.
you'll have the lease
Well,
sure if you
the
have
cost
the
of the
lease-
truck,
Make sure you have the down payment portion,
cost.
whether there's a balloon,
When it's all
any
due.
additional lease
basically,
fees.
the one they typically do is 5 years, and you make one payment the first of the year every year.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
there's sometimes because it's a lease, you'll have to check service too, see if it's gotta be serviced by them and all this crap too.
Yeah.
All goes along with it, you know, so we'll have an N number. Cause right now you guys service the trucks, right?
We've had them service it. And it's cheaper to take it down there and have them change it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, the first time we had them do it, because it was still under warranty and everything, was like $500 to change the oil, which is pretty reasonable. By the time you buy the oil, the filters and all that and the labor. Anyway,
Thank you, Jeff,
so,
you'll be on for the next meeting.
yeah, fine, we'll
Yeah.
talk about it.
Make a plan.
Yeah. Alright, we'll get out of here.
No,
Thank you.
fine.
You want me to talk to the power guys more for you? I will.
Remember, opt out.
Yeah.
I like it. I already had a call about opt-out.
Okay, Lean, do you?
I just wanted to let the board know that I did, send an email to the solar company that, owns our solar panels, and explained what was going on. That's right, I CC'd you guys. She did respond and say that she would get a crew out there to look at.
Oh, I didn't see that yet.
Well, it just came in, and so I haven't heard of a date, so I did, Woody's gone, but I was gonna check with him to see if he's seen anyone stop in to look at those, so I'll follow up again tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, I'm bringing it back to the board, and I'll start with David.
I came down, Lean asked me to look at J&J because it's been so warm, a benefit to the warm weather is.
Yeah.
They were able to put stone around the whole.
I heard it was
townhouse
outstanding
and
job
lights.
too.
What a great job, and they also did this building. They called me, cause after they looked at the stone of this building, there was already two different types of stone. And they asked if they could match the same stone as that building, and I said, as long as you're gonna cover everything and there's none of the other stones showing.
Yeah.
I was happy with that, and I came and looked, and they just.
Looks beautiful, they really did a nice
And
job.
the lines are perfectly straight, they did a great job, they filled it up just as like I wanted, they did all around the stairs out front, and
Hopefully keep the paint, or let's help with some of the paint.
it's just a super job, they did great.
Gutters will be the same thing.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Nope.
Justin, do you?
Nothing?
Okay, nothing for the last meeting of the year?
No. Happy New Year.
There you go. Alright, do we have it on public? I don't think so.
No,
No.
Oh, a quick update, transfer station, one of our employees down there is going to take a nurse's position, full-time. But we do have an old application and a brand new application that came this week, so. Imagine right after the first of the week, we'll now get on both of those.
And I kinda alluded, make sure you pay attention to the sign, you can't miss it, I mean, it just sticks right out, you know, the sign,
Yeah, I didn't even
It
know.
is amazing how nice it looks at the very front. I was just, wait, where did that come from? And he had pictures of it, I mean, you go in there, it's definitely something new.
Have they turned it now, from those pictures?
It-
Turned?
No, I don't think it's turned that much, but it stands right out where you can see it.
They didn't put a help wanted.
It is next to it, yes, yes, yes.
We gotta illuminate that.
That's the one you
Okay,
gotta illuminate.
I have nothing else, I'm waiting for a motion, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to,
Public comment? No?
did you,
Okay.
okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.